For some reason, I'm getting hung up on Rumble here. Okay, I think that's got us. Hopefully, goodness sakes, what trouble we've had tonight. Let me go over here and make sure that we're not on YouTube. Oh, I can't turn it off. What the heck? All right, well, we'll just leave it the way it is. I'm not sure how to fix it. I don't know why we're not rolling here on Rumble yet. There we go. Finally, goodness sakes. Hopefully that's got us. What a pain. My light's all weird tonight. I'm trying. Well, welcome. It's Friday. I don't know what you guys are drinking. I know it's not tea time, but I'm always drinking tea. So I'd made some chamomile. I don't know what happened. My chamomile was super weak. So I've got like other tea bags thrown in it trying to fix it. I think because we had the flu this week. That was super fun. Good grief. I was wondering if it was COVID, and I have the little home test. I won't stick those up my nose, but we did manage to get specimens by other route. And I just was, we started feeling bad Sunday, and then by Monday, I was in the bed. Poor Don started his first day at his new job. So that wasn't great for him. But I was able to rest at least. So that's good. And I did manage to get some paperwork gone through and a little bit of organizing done, trying to get this all done as Don's working on the office because I want to be ready when that thing's ready to go. Hi, I'm June. Hi, Madeline. But anyway, so I've got chamomile tea, and then I've got a couple of what is it? Wild orange. This one. Where's everyone at? The flu is worse than COVID. Yeah, this flu wasn't bad. But we got right on it. We started taking big doses, like 4 grams of vitamin C twice a day, and the thing that really seemed to make a big difference for us was Miso Copper. So Miso, this company that sells these things, they sell Miso Copper, they sell Miso Silver. Pamela, hi. Miso Copper, Miso Silver, Miso Gold, they sell a platinum. I keep the silver, the gold, and the copper on hand, and copper is really crazy antiviral. I've always wondered why they don't make or at least coat services and hospitals with copper, because as soon as little virions, single viral particles hit them, they kind of explode. So we were taking, or at least I was taking copper a tablespoon 3 times a day. And oh no, you just got over COVID again. Yeah, it's like a cold. You're just going to keep getting it over and over. Make sure your vitamin D level is good. You want it to be between 50 and 90, no matter what they tell you. That's the number. But the copper really made a big difference. I could tell within, gosh, I want to say 20 minutes, I could tell, the body aching was better and my fever would come down. Elderberry is very good for boosting immunity. The Miso Copper, it's a liquid. Hold on, let me see if Don's around. I'll have him run in there and get it for me. I don't want to bellow. I normally just bellow. Hey, Don. Well, if I could get into my phone. Where is he? Come here, please. See how I said please? Hopefully he reads it. Okay, is that pills or vitamins? The copper's a liquid. It doesn't really have any flavor. I just pour it in with orange juice, and I would tell you if it does. I think the copper has more of a flavor than the silver or the gold. Gold's really good if you've got joint problems. Can I post a link? Yeah, let me pull that up. Miso, I think I can get that on Amazon. Let's look. No, I hate Amazon too, but it's really convenient place to find things, and these are things you can't always find locally. Miso copper. Hey, babe, can you bring me the copper and the silver? Yes. Thank you. Okay, there's silver. Do they not have the copper online? There it is. And they make it in a little smaller container, but I don't know. We really blew through it. It definitely seemed to help. Hold on a second. Let me get you this link. and it's the long link. For some reason, when I'm on my computer, I cannot find the short link. Thank you. Thank you. Nope, that's it. I appreciate it. Let me get this link for you guys. Copy. And okay. Hold on, let me get my chat open here. So here's the link to the copper. Paste. Hopefully my folks on Facebook can see that. And then here it is for my Rumble folks. Paste. There you go. Anyway, this is the miso copper, and it's clear as you can see. You want to keep it away from electrical things. I keep it up in a dark cupboard, just because these are charged elements. So, but you can mix them all together. So you can mix the copper and the silver, the copper, the silver, and the gold. They don't interact with medications. But I found usually, I'm big on the miso silver. Silver's we've used silver for, decades now. And the miso silver brand, I used to use Sovereign Silver, but the more research I've done, the more I like the miso silver. And it's really good antiviral. If the kids get pink eye, I've put drops of this right into their eyes. Yeah, David had pink eye, my oldest. He'd come home from the Marines, and there was going to be some, or oh no, he was still there. She had flown out to go to the Marine Corps ball, and he had a terrible case of pink eye. And I'm like, get some silver. And so he put drops of silver in his eye, and within hours, the pink eye was cleared up. Pink eye is usually viral anyway. The antibiotic they give you doesn't really do anything besides prevent a secondary bacterial infection, but you can do that with that. But miso copper, I don't know if you can put it in eyes or anything like that, but I know you can take it internally and it'll wall up the flu. I had 1 day of fever, didn't even get up to 102. My cough's mostly gone. I mean, we got knocked down flu Monday. By Wednesday, I was doing pretty well. Flu A or B, my 5-year-old has. They do not give them Tamiflu. Yes, don't give Tylenol, don't give Tamiflu. You can give copper to little kids, no problem with that. I'd give it at the same dose too, the tablespoon 3 times a day. And then you can give a gram. Well, let's see, he's 5. So 500 milligrams of vitamin C, unless he's got a G6PD deficiency that you're aware of. But you can give 500 milligrams of vitamin C, every 2 hours while they're awake. And that'll take a big haul off of it. But what did we do? We mostly took copper, vitamin C. We took big, grams doses of vitamin C, but it didn't bother us. Generally, if you're sick, you can take those really high doses of vitamin C without getting digestive issues. So definitely try that. And then we use, hey, babe, I do need one more thing. That sodium ascorbate, it's on the counter by by where I make my tea. Let me pull this one. By where I make my tea. I'm going to pull up this sodium ascorbate. The reason I tell you this one, I think it's sodium. Yeah. Ascorbate. I use this vitamin C because it doesn't taste bad, and you can take huge doses of it. A quarter teaspoon of this has 1,100 milligrams of vitamin C. So I put a whole teaspoon in. So you're looking at 4,400. So that's 4 grams of vitamin C in just a little thing of lemonade is how I do it. Hold on, I'm getting these links for you guys.
Container?
What?
Don't you have a bigger container?
No, this is my big giant container. This is what it looks like. But I've had this for 6 months?
Yeah.
I'm not even, I mean, it's still, I don't know if you can see that. It's still almost full. This stuff goes a long way. You want to spread it out if you're going to take, thank you. If you're going to take 4 grams, definitely, spread it out, take it with some food. But I mean, I've taken it on empty. I'm just being overcautious there. So there's the link to oh, that's a big one. Sorry. There's a link. And here it is for Rumble guy for you guys here. Paste. All right. We get all of our links in there. Will help with flu, will help with RSV, safe for babies. If you've got a little tiny baby, and you want to make just some chamomile tea, don't put honey in it. Just a little chamomile tea. You can sweeten it with a little sugar or breast milk if you're nursing. And you can put not even an eighth, just a little bit less than an eighth of a teaspoon of vitamin C in that and give it throughout the day. Or you can just put it in breast milk in a bottle or a cup if they're drinking that. or formula or whatever they're drinking because it's not bitter. It doesn't taste bad. It's very easy to give to little kids, which is what I like about it. I hate that I cannot scroll down the hold on, let me see if I can scroll this comment section. Oh, I can. Yay. Okay, got the links. My littles have it. A house of 8 kids. Oh my goodness. Um, you have your own colloidal silver. Be careful if you're making your own colloidal silver. You can't really make it small enough, and so you can run into issues. I know people who have made it and done fine with it for years, and that's just a overall caution. Um, the thing is if you can't get those, that's why I like the miso silver is it's a true colloid. If you've gotta get those particles really small or they don't really absorb into anything. And it's a process that is very hard to accomplish at home. Can you make silver at home? Yes, you can. How effective is that silver? I don't know. Um, but, this, like I said, the Miso Silver brand we've been using for years. We used to use Sovereign, but the copper definitely was a game changer this time. I didn't I used the copper, like a teaspoon of the copper and a teaspoon of the silver and a tablespoon of the copper 3 times a day. Um, but if I was just lazy, I just took the copper, and I'm telling you, within a half hour, I was like, "Wow, I actually do feel better." You've been doing it for years. Yeah, see, I know a lot of people who do it for years. You do the high dose of ascorbic acid too. Something stops it from spreading. Yeah, well, good luck there. I mean, I'd probably go ahead and dose everybody up with some vitamin C. It'll help them fight it. Um, and you can go ahead and start giving them the copper before they get sick. It's antiviral, so, that's a good bet, especially for little kids, RSV, things like that. There's all kinds of nasty stuff going around. I saw they were talking about all the people that were hospitalized with flu and, how hospitals were really strained, and I'm like, "Oh, in other words, it's December?" It's like this every year. Every year I've ever worked, we're overrun, we don't have enough ICU beds, the hospital's full, you've got people boarding in the ER, um, and it's flu and, GI bleeds. This is the time of year for GI bleeds, I think, because it's colder, people take a lot of, nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, and then they end up in the hospital with GI bleeds. Um, then you got your slips and falls, people shoveling snow, broken hips. We get a lot of those in the winter, but don't be too freaked out that the hospital is really stressed out with all this stuff. I think probably for kids that were jabbed, I think they're gonna struggle worse with flu and RSV. And I'd be super interested if somebody would do a study that would let us know if the kids that are getting really sick with RSV, if they've not been jabbed, are they in a jabbed household? Because now we have some data coming out on that spike protein being transmissible. I mean, I had been saying that since the very beginning because in those early studies, if you were living in a house and you were taking, I gotta keep remembering to move back over here. If you were already taking, yes, 1 tablespoon 3 times a day, Ashley. Um, if you were taking or if you were in a clinical trial, if you were in one of the clinical trials and you were doing the mRNA vaccines, it was right there in the documentation that I read back when the studies were still going on before the shot was out, that if the person that was in the study exposed themselves to, a woman and she became pregnant or then she became part of the clinical research. So, why would you do that if the spike protein doesn't spread? And we know the spike protein spreads, and of course, they were telling us it didn't move around in the body and it stayed right in your arm, and we know that's not true, and, now we're seeing cancer come up, cancer cases come up, stillbirths, all kinds of stuff, really, really troubling. If you're still getting these shots, please stop. Um, I mean, it is a testament to your strength that you've survived it thus far, but I would not I wonder if people that keep taking them are just getting duds because we know, a good amount of the injuries come from about 10% of the batches, which if it's being made uniformly, that should not ever be the case. We don't see that with any other vaccines. But I just wouldn't take it. I don't take the flu shot, and I survived the flu just fine. I mean, I never was at any point where I thought I would need to go to the ER or anything like that. I'm still tired today. My throat's still scratchy, but I mean, we got sick Sunday night. So Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. So 5 nights, I'm basically well. And Don's doing well too, so definitely try the Miso Copper, that should help. And it comes pretty quick depending on where you live. And I don't know if that's one you'd be able to find locally. Now, silver you could find, but you've got silver, so you're good there. Um, all right, any more cold flu questions for me? Bless your hearts. It's gonna be a rough year, I think. I wonder how susceptible the flu will even be. Like, most flu is not even is not, what is the word I'm thinking of? Most flu is resistant to Tamiflu now. I don't even know why they give it. It is dangerous. They shouldn't be giving it to kids. They definitely should not be giving it to pregnant women. If you look it up, the class of drug it says that it's not approved for use in pregnant people, that it was tested on pregnant animals and caused damage to the pups. How a doctor like, they don't even look. I'm like, "Why would you give a drug and not look?" It is not FDA approved for women who are pregnant or who may become pregnant. So, I mean, I can't think of anybody that I would give Tamiflu to. It's just a junk drug. You're much better off with vitamin C, copper, silver, lots of fluids. Part of the, um collagen, even if you're taking this is why chicken soup is so good. Your grandma wasn't wrong about that. When you're making a chicken soup and you're actually making chicken soup and you're boiling that carcass down, there's collagen in it. And collagen is very healing for the body. It's healing for the gut. It boosts the immune system. Your grandmother absolutely knew what she was talking about. Throw some onions and garlic in there and whatever else, skim it out if you have to because your kids won't drink it. Yes, Tamiflu is very dangerous. In other countries, you can't even use it in people under 16. Little kids can go into psychosis from it and have committed suicide, have become homicidal, tried to stab their parents. I'm talking little 7-year-old, 8-year-old kids run into traffic, jump off balconies. Um, that seems really prevalent in Asian kids that take it. I don't know what happens here when kids take it because doctors don't report anything to the adverse events, um, to FAERS. It's FAERS instead of VAERS, but doctors just don't report adverse events to that. So we really have no way of knowing if drugs are safe or not. And the fact that most of our drugs, if the drug itself isn't made in China, the components to make the drug, the different ingredients are made in China. So I just don't I mean, I'm trying to wean off everything but what I absolutely have to take, like my thyroid medicine I can't not take. Um, but I just don't trust it, and we're seeing drug shortages with Tylenol, which I've been cheering. I'm like, "Oh, yes, run out of Tylenol, please." It's only exacerbating things. It's if you've got some kind of respiratory thing going on, the last thing you wanna put in your body besides a COVID vaccine would be Tylenol. Don't do it. Any contraindications for folks taking Meso Copper? Not that I know of, doesn't interact with any drugs. Um, if you've got some kind of issue where you have high levels of copper in your blood, that's something you would know, though. That's something your doctors would have caught. Something would have, flagged them to catch that. And a lot of times, if you're anemic, you're not actually it's not so much that you're iron anemic, but that your copper is low. And then, like, I find people who get really, really their mood shifts and they get angry or mean or hateful when you put them on iron. I find if you put them on copper, their iron will come up and they don't have all of that. It's an issue with being able to metabolize copper, I think, or iron. And so just interesting. I've talked to several people lately and said, "Hey, they're like, I'm taking this iron because I'm anemic, but it just makes me feel terrible." And I'll ask them, "Have you had your copper level checked?" And they'll check their copper level. And so far, every single one has had low copper. And I'm like, try copper and see if your iron level will pop up. And they took copper because these things kind of work in balance. So if you're deficient in one, it can cause problems elsewhere. Yes, Tamiflu is very dangerous. I have a bag for each in the household from pharmacy. It will be disposed of. I know they hand it out like candy. And what's interesting is, I mean, this drug got approved when Donald Rumsfeld, so before Bush, when Donald Rumsfeld was still working. I don't think it's yeah, I think it is Gilead that makes Tamiflu. That's enough of a reason not to take it right there. Um, but Donald Rumsfeld was working for them. It's been around that long. There is no way that the flu is resistant or the flu isn't resistant to it by now. And the other problem is, because the strains change every year, they mutate. Um, and the other thing is you're taking a drug that's not proved to stop transmission of the virus. They'll tell you that, "Oh, we'll put you on Tamiflu, that way you don't spread it." That's not true. It doesn't stop transmission at all. There are no studies that show it stops it. There's a really good Cochrane report. I'll have to look for that for you guys, but there's a Cochrane report, and I love Cochrane reports because the Cochrane people who do the Cochrane evaluations, what they do, they're a group of unpaid scientists who look at the current data that's out, and they weight it based on how good the study is. Was it a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled, or was it just, something just thrown together? And so they weight them, and, the better studies have higher weight and the worst studies have lower weight, and the Cochrane report was basically like, "We can't advise that there's any good to be had by taking Tamiflu." That was basically it, and it may be dangerous, so stop. Like, "Okay." Um, Cassie says, "So besides Tylenol and ibuprofen, I'm lost in what to do to keep fever at bay." You don't really need to keep fever at bay. Fever is important. Fever is what helps your so what happens when you get a fever is you get a pathogen in your body. Something is invading, right? And so your immune system sends a signal to your I'm trying to think of the part of the brain. It's gonna escape me, but anyway, it sends a signal to your brain, and it tells your brain to reset the temperature because something's in here, we need to get rid of it. Um, and so what do? We're like, "Oh my gosh, there's a fever, we have to medicate it and get it down." Why? That's exactly how your body is designed to work. It is designed to as long as they're drinking, as long as they're peeing, let them run fever, it's okay. I just I don't know how we got into this, habit of thinking we need to medicate fever. I think because doctors keep telling us we need to medicate fever. They're like, "Oh, well, if I get 102, it'll cook your brain." No, it won't. I promise. I ran almost 105 for days. My brain is fine. Um, and if it's not, it wasn't that. Um, it's just it's part of the normal it would be like stopping coughing. Yes, at night it is helpful to slow down a cough so someone can sleep, but other than that, you need to cough. There's junk in there you need to get out. There's white blood cells have engulfed whatever bacteria or virus is going on in there, and you have to cough. You have to get that out. So we don't want like to take cough suppressants and temperature or fever suppressants all the time. Um, it's a high one. Yeah, I mean, how uncomfortable is the person with the fever is the other thing. If they're 103 or 104, but they're resting and they're peeing and they're able to drink, I leave it alone. Um, the other thing you can try, depending on the age of the person, as long as the person's over 4, I think, you can take, um, you can take 10 drops of peppermint oil and put it in with a tablespoon of a carrier or oil like olive oil or an almond oil, coconut oil, whatever. And you can rub that down their back and the soles of their feet, and that'll bring temperature down. If they're younger than that, you can use spearmint oil. Um, but I mean, other than that, just lots of fluids. As long as they have, as long as they're now, if you're dehydrating, that's a whole different matter. But if as long as you're able to hydrate, um, just let the fever run. It's okay. Unless you've got a child who is prone to febrile seizures, but even then, they don't find that the seizure causes any damage. It's scary. I had a child who had a febrile seizure, and then we medicated every fever thereafter. Now he's got an autoimmune problem and, all kinds of stuff. So, I don't know. I've had patients run 107 and they're fine. I wouldn't recommend 107, but, there are some good doctors out there that'll tell you 105.8, which I think is probably miserably too high, and you probably need to take something at that point. She's miserable, but all output is good. Yeah, yeah, do whatever else you can do to make her comfortable. It generally, a fever that high doesn't last very long. I don't know how long she's been feverish for. Um, you're sure she doesn't have strep throat or anything like that. Those are, things you always wanna look for. No abdominal pain. Always make sure that you're dealing with what you think you're dealing with, because sometimes things will hit in twos. So as long as, she's not having any belly pain, her throat looks good, doesn't have white spots on the back of her throat. The one-year-old has febrile seizures, yeah. He drank her cup today. Oh, no. Well, definitely start and the vitamin C, good amounts of vitamin C will bring down temperature. Um, So I would definitely start the one-year-old on him because he's probably next unless his immune system's good, and make sure that they're all taking just a daily, kids dose vitamin D, um, to kinda help get them through the winter. But, those are my thoughts on fever. Now you do what you know is best. You're the one looking at your kid. This isn't medical advice, just what I would do if I had little ones, and I've got little ones that are raised and have, helped with grandkids, and, most things pass. What's interesting to me is I've seen kids, come to the ER. Even I've had kids in the ICU before, um, that have not had super high fevers, but been really, really sick. Like, you can just look at them and they just look septic. And then you'll have a kid that's got, 103 temperature, 103.8, and they're sitting up and they're playing on the phone or they're watching the TV. They don't look bad. That's kind of how I look. Um, Wendy, it's Penny, honey. That's okay though. um, but anyway, yeah, try all those things. I wouldn't go too cool on the baths if you're going to do baths because if you get them cold, then their body's just going to try to keep raising the temperature. But, cool washcloth on their forehead, just keep an eye on them. Cool mist humidifier, inhaling cooler air helps. Keep the blankets down. They don't need to be under a pile of blankets if they've got a high temperature. Um, I think that's it. But yeah, I'm hearing flu is really hitting hard. I'm glad we really dodged it. But like I said, as soon as Sunday, Don was like, I don't know, something's wrong. I'm not feeling good. It's okay. Um, Hi, Cassie. Um, I'm what? You're scared? Don't be scared. I think that's scared, or you're a skeleton. Don't be a skeleton either. Um, but yeah, it was going around, and as soon as he said he didn't feel good, it takes me a while to notice when I don't feel good, and I was like, "You know what? Now that he mentions it, my throat is hurting." And so we just hit it hard, and then it did seem to work. So there you go. There's that. It's been good hearing the good old flu diagnosis again, right? I know you would think we could have completely wiped it out since we managed to do it during COVID. There will never be an explanation for that that'll make sense to me. And they're like, "Oh, because of masks." I'm like, "No, no, no, we've done many studies on influenza and masks, and it does not prevent influenza. In fact, it raises your risk." They're like, "Social distancing." I'm like, "That was crap from the minute they said it." I mean, I'm like, 6 feet of distance is gonna prevent you from getting something that's aerosolized? That's stupid. Um, just interesting that we didn't have any flu for what, almost 2 years. Um, so I'm looking now. Let me see what I've pulled up here because I don't know if I've pulled up anything having to do with. Oh, I was gonna talk a little bit about Dr. Fauci. So Dr. Fauci is on trial. Hold on, let me see if I can find this real quick. Um, where is it's in Missouri and Louisiana. I don't know if they're separate trials or where this is taking place. I've not been able to get. Hold on, let me pull this up. Um, where's the search? More. My screen looks weird with this dark mode. I can't figure out anything now. Um, Anthony oh, Anthony Fauci proceeding. All right, find it. Ready, go. The heck? We need Wolf here so he can troubleshoot my computer because there's nothing there. I don't know what that is. It's just gonna be a shit show tonight, you guys. Let's go. Oh my goodness. Forgive me for cursing. It's just been nuts all day. Okay, so, we now know that Fauci absolutely funded the research, that he knew they were doing gain of function. He knew Wuhan was doing it. I mean, the whole thing is just coming completely undone. Um, yeah, he's still funding gain of function research. Okay, here's the thing. Let me get over here so I can share it with you guys. Masks and social distancing. It was all stupid. I can't believe so many people fell for it. I think, when you're so scared, um, you believe anything. I think if I'd said, "You know what? You can go outside, but you're gonna wanna lodge your thumb firmly up your behind, and I mean, hold it there. You wanna have good suction. Don't move." You know, and that will keep I think there would have been people that have been like, "Okay, real okay. Do I need to buy special pants for this, or can I just go out without pants?" Or I I'm like, "Guys, come on now. I know this is scary, but let's use our common sense." Okay, here we go. Okay, it's Anthony Fauci, this century's greatest killer? I would say yes, by Jim Hoft. It says, "On December 15th, my dear friend Eric found out he had contracted coronavirus at his nursing home. Eric was kept in isolation in his assisted living apartment since March when the pandemic made its way to the US despite the historic efforts by the American president. But after 9 months, there was an outbreak at his nursing home and Eric caught the virus. Um, and I'm sure got no treatment. Eric was 81 years old, overweight, diabetic, was suspected of having Parkinson's. He was in poor health and declining before the virus. He was the exact type of person you would want to protect from this virus. That's lethal for seniors. It is actually not lethal for seniors if you treat it when you get it. It's only lethal because they're just watching them die. You could say the same of flu if you just did nothing. When I spoke with Eric, he said he felt fine. I asked him what medications he was on since his diagnosis. I asked him if he was on any prophylactics to assist his recovery. Eric said their plan was to wait and see. The nursing home did not give any medications for coronavirus unless the patient started to experience symptoms. This shocked me. How could it be that after 9 months and over 300,000 related deaths at that time, that the medical community had nothing for seniors and the obese to help them before the disease could advance and take their life? Well, they did. They just didn't want to use it. 2 weeks later, when I returned from a trip, I heard Eric's condition had worsened. A day later, they put Eric in the hospital. 2 days later, my dear friend Eric Junger died. He was 81. And you'll just get that people are like, "Well, they were old. They were gonna die anyway." And I'm like, "No, not necessarily." You know? So you do nothing for them because they're old, but I mean, it wasn't just old people. They were doing nothing for anyone. It's been over a year since the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a pandemic after originally downplaying the threat. It's no secret that both the disease and the response to combat it following the SARS-CoV-2 outbreak have turned our world upside down. Mandates, lockdowns. You would think that a disease that is a death sentence for the elderly, the obese, those with pre-existing conditions, and that has forced children to avoid school, mask up, and get vaccinated would have certainly been faced with ramped up research into prophylactic, which would be preventative, and therapeutic solutions since its arrival in the United States. Well, you'd be wrong. Um, the CDC and Dr. Fauci have ignored the treatment of the coronavirus unless a patient is under severe stress. And that's it, unless you're in the hospital or, they're going to send you home on Paxlovid, which is an absolute nightmare. And I would say probably 70% of Americans are taking a drug that should not be taken with Paxlovid. It's contraindicated because it's two drugs together, and there are all kinds of drugs that if you're taking cholesterol medicine, any kind of heart medicine, blood pressure medicine, you shouldn't even be given a prescription for it. Dr. McCullough sees COVID patients and says 85% of COVID patients given multi-drug treatment plan recover from the disease with complete immunity. McCullough added, the pandemic could have been over by now, he says, if those who tested positive for COVID had been immediately treated before they felt ill enough to be hospitalized. He also says that thousands could have been and still could be saved if the treatment protocol he and other physicians use were not suppressed. Well, that was kind of my concern, was that it's a great treatment protocol, but if you can't get it, what use is it? And that's why I did an over the counter. You can go to my website and find it. There's an over the counter protocol there. Um, there's just no reason to be fearful of COVID or flu or anything else. We lived before this and we weren't all terrified. Cassie says, this is Cassie B, says, so many medical professionals who have the education all bought it. Like, what? I actually left nursing during COVID. COVID changed the medical profession. Yeah, I couldn't go back to it now if I wanted to because I'm not willing to lie to people, and I consider not telling somebody something they need to know lying. Ashley says, any country, no, we talked about that one. M. June says, my sister-in-law got the jab and the boosters. She has strep throat continuously and recently had a huge lump on her neck, couldn't swallow. Her throat was, geez. She went to urgent care and so what was wrong with her throat, M. June? I'm guessing you're probably still typing. The Holocaust of the elderly, yeah. We've been hearing for years that, Medicare is gonna collapse and Social Security is gonna collapse, and I thought, wow, this was a really natural way to prune that dead weight is, they so seem to think of the elderly as that sort of thing. It's just awful. But anyway, Fauci's on trial in, Missouri, and why can I not find anything on this? This is frustrating. Fauci on trial, can't remember. That's his answer for everything. He can't quite remember. He's like, "I don't know if I knew that Chinese lady." I get confused with Chinese names. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Like, anybody else who said that would be considered racist. Um, where is this? Here we go. Okay, this is the transcript. I'm gonna probably have to read through this. We're not gonna wanna. It says Fauci's recent deposition only confirmed what we already knew. Federal bureaucrats, in collusion with social media companies, want to control not only what you think, but especially what you say, said Attorney General Landry. During no time in human history was this more obvious than during COVID-19 crisis, where social engineering tactics were used against the American public, not to limit your exposure to a virus, but to limit your exposure to information that did not fit within a government sanctioned narrative. So that's what this whole lawsuit is about. The Missouri Attorney General and the Louisiana Attorney General have brought a lawsuit against the Biden administration, and Dr. Fauci is currently the one being deposed, I guess, or questioned. And, they're trying to figure out, why they were censoring this, who gave the order to censor it. But it says, according to the transcript, Dr. Fauci said, "I don't recall," 174 times. I'm like, "Well, then you're not sharp enough to do your job." Including when asked about emails that he sent, interviews that he gave, and other important information. And I'm gonna grab this link for the, um is this the transcript or is this just this might just be the case. Let me see here. This is a videotape deposition. Goodness, if you can get down this page. So who's bringing this case? Let me share this with you guys so you're not just over there staring at nothing. Share. Is it that one? I think it's that one. Yep. Okay, here we go. Sorry, my stomach's growling. Um, so this is Independent National Institute of Health, so the NIH, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Justice. I mean, they're just going after everybody. These are all emails. I'll have to go through this. This is a ton of stuff. Uh, this this is November 23rd. Looks like they started. This is the video recorded deposition of Dr. Anthony Fauci. So they started deposing him November 23rd, um, in Bethesda, Maryland. Okay, I wondered where they were. So you got your basic preliminaries. Um, and they're just. This is all just kind of going over the instructions and stuff. Fauci, did you review any documents in preparation for your deposition today? We did a couple of documents, a few. So glad you're so thoroughly prepared. What documents were those? Mr. Krishner objects on work product grounds, and I instruct the witness not to answer. Question, can you look at the document in front of you, Exhibit 1? Fauci says, yeah, so let me take a be careful. I read it, recognize it. Question, well, let me ask you this. In 2011, did you co-author an op-ed with Francis Collins, so Francis Collins is retired, in the Washington Post called a flu virus risk worth taking? Well, I have it in front of me here and it has my name. Are you freaking kidding me? Yes, you wrote that. And it has my name on it. So yes, it looks like I did co-author an editorial in the Washington See, I just think every time he gives an answer like that, you ought to be able to punch him in the mouth. I'm just so over the game playing. I know it's wrong. It's not okay to be violent, but this is why I'm not doing the questioning, because 'cause I'd be like, "Okay, not a straight answer. Wham, punch you right in the mouth." Yeah, hold on, let me grab that link. Uh, Copy. Let me post it in both places for you. Paste. I hope you guys can get these links. I never can tell if they're gonna work for you guys. Here you go. Paste. It has my name on it, so I think he's just being a smart ass. He's like, "Well, obviously, my name's on it. I obviously co-authored it." And I'm like, "Can you just say yes?" You can't, can you? You can't just be a classy person and just say yes. And so I think that deserves a punch in the mouth. Like, for every elderly person that's dead because they couldn't get any treatment, when he's gonna be snarky and not answer a question directly, then I say he gets a punch in the mouth. I'm gonna say punch in the mouth one more time. This is what allowed a Fauci to exist, and yes, exactly. Um, Under the old civil service retirement, Roy says, system, Fauci would have been retired 20. Yeah, how does he at least he's supposedly gone now, we'll see. I never am quite clear on, if these people are still backdoor dealing in there. Do you remember doing it, or do you only remember because you see it in front of you? Meaning this paper this Washington Post, this editorial. No, I vaguely remember this. I wish I could do his voice. This was 11 years ago. I've written 1,300 articles over my last several years. Yeah, I bet you have, you little turd. Um, Sorry. I'm trying not to do that, but he just makes me so mad. Question, you look at the final paragraph on the first page, in the first or sort of the first sentence on the final paragraph of the first page. Your op-ed states, given these uncertainties, important information and insights can come from generating a potentially dangerous virus in the laboratory. Do you remember writing that? So he's talking about gain of function research. Mr. Krishner, counsel, I would ask for Dr. Fauci to have an opportunity to familiarize himself with he wrote the freaking document. Sorry. Yeah, so he gives him his minute to just let me read it and see, I write a lot of things. Oh, Mr. Sowers says, question, let me ask you a question unrelated to that document, just in general. Do you believe as you sit here today that important information, insights can come from generating a potentially dangerous virus in a laboratory? So he's asking him in the present, do you believe what you wrote there? Well, yeah, if you take it into the correct context, because when you say generating a potentially dangerous virus in the laboratory, that's usually in the context of, for example, taking this H5N1 and studying it in different ways that could potentially make it more dangerous, but only under very strict conditions laid out for the guardrails of conducting experiments that could potentially create such a dangerous virus. Okay, so you guys remember the story just recently where it was found out that Boston University was doing gain of function research? They didn't have that approved, but the NIH, Fauci, was still funding it, even though they're like, "Oh, well, we didn't approve that. They probably should have asked us." I'm like, "You were freaking funding this study. What are you talking about?" It just during COVID, they were trying to combine COVID and another virus. I can't remember what it was, and they got caught at some college, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, sorry. Yeah, oh, we didn't get the proper authorization on that. Our bad. Our bad." Yeah, whatever. And if you look at the context of this particular paper, the point that Dr. Collins, Dr. Nabel, and I were making, that there is a risk, as we were talking about with pandemic influenza, to understand as best as possible. And in fact, if you go to the next paragraph, we say understanding the biology of virus transmission has implications for outbreak prediction, prevention, and treatment. Here's the thing though, you're making the virus more dangerous so that you can predict what it will do. So supposedly you can have a vaccine ready if it does that thing that it would never have done if you hadn't been jerking around with it. And the point that we were making in this article is that there's a risk benefit to research like this. And the point we were making, it says a risk worth taking if the benefit is the protection of the American and global public. Were we protected? No, we weren't protected. We couldn't even get treatment. You stifled every bit of information that was coming from doctors who actually treat patients, which Dr. Fauci has not done since shortly after medical school a gazillion years ago. I mean, he couldn't do a medical history if you gave him the form and walked him through it. Are you kidding me with this? He is a politician. Um, in 2007 where he says, "I almost went to work for HHS at the Bug Lab, Rocky Mountain Lab," oh my goodness, in Hamilton, Montana. "I ended up taking a job with a different agency." I'm glad you did too. The lab of Corixa Corporation. Oh gosh, I can't even imagine what I don't want to know about that. He says, "You refer to conditions under which such research should be done, right? When you're generating potentially dangerous viruses, right? First of all, is that kind of research generally referred to as gain of function research? Gain of function, this is Fauci, of function research is a very potentially misleading terminology." Those are their words. This is what it was called. If you go back and you read the old studies, it's called gain of function. There's 2 things, gain of function or some gain of, I can't remember what the other term is, but he knows he's just playing a word game here. Um, Gain of function is a very potentially misleading terminology, and that was one of the reasons why several years ago, outside groups, not the NIH, made the determination that they would much more strictly define the guardrails of experiments that would require additional oversight and did away with the terminology gain of function because it can often be very confusing and misleading. Well, it was their term. When was that terminology gain of function done away with? At the time, I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but there was a period of time, I think, 2011 and 2014 or 12 and 14, I'm not sure, when there was a pause that was put in research that was relate this isn't what he's asking him. He's saying, "When was the terminology done away with?" And he's talking about that there was a pause in gain of function research. Obama put a pause on it because it was dangerous. And so Fauci commissioned the building of the Wuhan lab, and they started doing it over there. This has nothing to do with the terminology. This is a complete BS answer right here. Um, oh, he says, "Do these guardrails include things like the level of biosafety level at which such research should be done?" That, I believe, was part of it. You don't know what was part of the safety measure to be carried out if you're doing gain of function research. What is your job? I'm not sure if it was explicitly said, but it certainly could be. There were 2 elements to it. There was the pause, which is not at all what this guy was asking about, which any research that could have that could potentially have any collaterally dangerous aspects to it were put on pause, and then a number of organizations outside the NIH, including the Office of Science and Technology, blah, 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 a number of working groups, he's not answering. Um It was felt by the outside groups to be very clear the kinds of experiments that needed additional oversight. Could I give you a second document? So, this goes on and on and on. You guys can read through it. I'll read through it and see what I can find as far as what's in there that we absolutely have to talk about. But it's it makes me so mad because he is so dishonest. He's so dishonest. For him to sit there and say, "Oh, yeah, I think we stopped that in 2011 or 12 or 2014, there was a pause." He was asking you about the terminology and when did that term get changed, and it got changed when he changed it. When he left a hearing where he was giving testimony and getting very, upset by, Rand Paul, and he went back into his office and changed the definition of gain of function. That's when he did it. It didn't happen in 2011 or 2012 or 2014. He's a lying little turd. I mean, the truth, I'm telling you, he lies and the truth isn't in him. It's nowhere to be found. They're probably wasting their time. They ought to just turn him upside down by his foot and just shake him. They'd have better luck getting the truth out of him that way. The little water boatman bugs are the ones we see all over the place in puddles and slow streams with little oars poking out. What the heck? The Corixa rabbit hole can go deep. Allegedly, the corp is named after or inspired by the true bug species, Corixidae, the water boatman bug. That's so scary. I'm already worried about the mosquitoes that Bill Gates is messing with. There's another little turd who lies and the truth isn't in him. I got no love for these people. And I'm a Christian woman. Look, I've hung out with God. I am not big on just ripping on people for these people are evil. We have to be able to call out evil. These people are evil. When you're sitting in your office and based on research done over a decade ago, that hydroxychloroquine is a powerful antiviral agent, also reduces inflammation, also inhibits the virus from being able to attach, and it was 76% like that original SARS-CoV virus. This absolutely could have done some good. And now we're seeing that FTX, so Sam Bankman-Fried, the guy that just had the whole lost billions of dollars in crypto, didn't lose it, he stole it basically. Now we're finding that his organization was one of the organizations that paid for some of these fake hydroxychloroquine studies where they either intentionally overdosed people or didn't use it early enough, waited till people were so sick that there was no way it could help. Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried right there. I'm telling you, it is a big, incestuous, absolute nightmare. Um, so that's going on. That little turd. He makes me so mad. I'm telling you, if I ran into him, I don't think I could keep my mouth shut. Um, and I'm not a person who's super confrontational. All right, so then we've got let's look at this. This is the Brittany Gaynor story. Hopefully, let me make sure this is sharing. Let me go over here and fix this. I'm not sure it is. Okay, so let's go to this thing is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm glad she's home. Um, but there were much bigger fish to fry here. Okay, so this is from Gateway Pundit. I don't know if this is Christina Layla. NBC Scrubs bombshell report that Russia offered America Brittany Griner or Paul Whelan in exchange for Victor Boot. So if you don't know who Victor Boot is, this guy's bad news, okay? And there is no indication that Victor Boot is going to go into retirement now that he's out. So NBC News scrubbed its bombshell report that Russia offered the U.S. Brittany Griner or former Marine Paul Whelan in exchange for the Merchant of Death. Paul Whelan, I mean, if you just go on seniority, who's been trapped in Russia longer, Paul Whelan should have gotten out. He is an American serviceman that didn't break any laws. They're accusing him of spying, but if he was spying, he was doing it in service of our government. So I feel like we should get him out. And they keep getting other people out and not getting Mr. Whelan out. So Joe Biden on Thursday announced he traded the world's most wanted fugitive, Russian Victor Boot, aka the Merchant of Death, for pot-smoking anti-American Brittany Griner. And keep in mind, Brittany Griner, who was once accused of domestic violence, who had babies with her first wife. What the heck? My computer just totally quit. Who supposedly got a surrogate or did a, I don't know, in vitro or whatever with her first wife. What is up with my computer? Her first wife. I don't know why it keeps doing that. And then when they started beating on each other and things fell apart, I don't know if this is even, we may have gone completely down. Hey guys, let me know if you can still see me. I think we're still there. My computer keeps flashing off. It's not dead, is it? No, it's plugged in. Anyway, so this whole thing with Brittany Griner. So she had been in trouble for domestic violence. She had twin babies with this woman, and then like was denying that they were her babies, which doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, how could they be yours if you used her eggs? Then they're hers, and then you're just like a step parent, basically. But she wanted a DNA test done, and I'm like, for what? Like, what are you looking for? And then so you never found out what the DNA results were, and I'm like, okay, whose DNA are you looking for? Because it would be the mother's DNA, so the woman who had the baby, which would be her wife. Okay, good. Which would be her wife, and it would be the DNA of the sperm donor that they chose. So she's like, "Well, I think that my wife was cheating on me, and maybe those babies are that person's and not the sperm donors." The whole thing is very strange. So it's not like this person is, you know, super upstanding. She's got these twin babies that she didn't want to support, was trying to get out of. She's been accused of domestic violence. She's been to Russia before. She takes this vape stuff over there. She knows you're not supposed to do that. So this was just stupid decision making. I'm, somebody and I'm not going to get in trouble. And that just, sometimes that hits you right in the face. Madeline says, did anyone watch the interview of the young woman who was in the quality control department of Pfizer? Yeah, I've had her on my show. If you go back, if you go back, the thumbnail is like somebody peeking through blinds. Her name is Melissa McAtee, and I did an interview with her quite a while ago. That far brave and great. Yeah, Melissa's wonderful, wonderful person. So let's go back over here and see if we can look at this now. Okay, hopefully it's okay. Joe Biden on Thursday announced that he traded the world's most wanted fugitive, Victor Boot, the merchant of death, for pot smoking, Brittany Griner. It wouldn't bother me so much, but she was just so vocal about how much she hated this country. The White House on Thursday said Joe Biden did not have a choice. Yes, this is what Jean-Pierre, uh, what's her name? I can't think of the press secretary. She said, "We didn't have any choice." They said it was either Brittany or nobody. And that was what they said in the press meeting this morning, but by 3 o'clock, this had come out. It's amazing how fast news breaks. Unfortunately, the choice became to either bring Brittany home or no one, Karine Jean-Pierre is right there, said. Um, However, according to NBC News, Joe Biden had a choice. Brittany Griner or Paul Whelan. Why would you not bring Paul Whelan home? My camera's not even working. What is up? Huge tech issues. Hold on, let me see if I can get my camera working. Camera. I don't know what happened. It's not unplugged. This is just crazy. Let me try to turn it back on. Sorry, guys. Hold on a second. Settings. Displays. No. Oh, for Pete's sake, come on. Why did my camera go down? Bluetooth. Cameras. Logitech Brio, yes. Give me just a second. There we go. Make sure we're out of trouble there. I don't know what happened with my computer. I think it's okay now. All right. It's on. I think it's good now. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. However, according to NBC News, they could have exchanged for Brittany Griner or Paul Whelan. Citing a senior government official, NBC News said Russia has treated Whelan differently because he is an accused spy, and that the Kremlin gave the White House the choice of either Griner or Whelan or none. A senior U.S. official told NBC News that the U.S. government had sought to. I think I just read that. Yeah. NBC scrubbed its initial report after conservatives pointed out it contradicted the White House's talking points. NBC updated scrubbed version of its article stated because Whelan is accused of spying, so Whelan is our guy who's military, who's over there, and that the Kremlin ultimately gave the White House the choice of Griner or no one after different options were presented. So they updated to that, but that was not their initial story. NBC finally updated with an editor's note. An earlier version of this article misstated the choice that Biden administration was given over hostages. It was a swap for Griner or no one, not a choice between Griner and Whelan. So we'll see where that goes. But Russian TV, hold on, let me stop this and come back over here. Russian TV, the people in Russia are just cracking up over this whole thing. You know, they basically think we're idiots. Anyway, what is up with my camera? I have no idea. But not you on the camera talking. I don't know why it keeps going down. And we're going to have a short stream tonight if this is going to go like this. Bluetooth devices. There it is. It keeps popping back up. Okay. No, I don't want to remove the device. I don't know what's going on, guys. Weird. Let me see if I can select a different camera. I have never had this trouble before. Video. OBS virtual. This one. There we go. All right, we'll try that. Is that right? No, it's the other way. Okay, hopefully that'll work. I don't know what's going on tonight. I think I'm back on. Let's look. And keep quiet. Not right. Was a milky tint with blue. Yeah, she talked about that in the interview. Um, I'll see if I can find that link for you guys too. We talked a lot about when I had her on, we talked a lot about quality control because there was a whole bunch of weird stuff going on as far as that was her job was quality control. And I mean, it was crazy all the stuff that because we talked about stuff that she hadn't talked about in other interviews, so it was really good. I can't remember the name of that one, but anyway, hold on, I wanna show you this. Let me screen share. You need audio for this. So this is um what Russia is saying about us. I mean, for everybody that's like, "Oh, our standing's so much better in the world now that we have Biden." No, it's not. They're mocking us. Sorry.
То, что обменяли Бута все-таки на Грайнер, а не на Уилма. Я, во-первых, поздравляю Бута, поздравляю всю его семью. Мы много лет были на связи
Hold on, let me
с
mute it
его
and I'll read
семьей,
it.
насколько было это возможно.
Okay, and with him personally, to the extent it was possible, we communicated with him to the extent that we could. Of course, this is a huge joy and a relief for all of us. She's talking about Boot. I can't even imagine what this means to his family. So Boot is the death guy, but he was not exchanged for the heroic spy, which would be our military guy, because he is a spy. Whelan is a spy, she says. He was apprehended while receiving information on a flash drive. He said he was supposed to get photos of churches in Sergeyev Posad. You send church photos through WhatsApp, right? That's where we get them. Look where I've been. You don't get a flash drive brought to you for that. You could do that. Quality would be decent, no worse than on a flash drive. He's a spy. Therefore, to them, he is a hero. To them is us. He's a hero, a decorated Marine covered in medals. He only has one, no two, no three problems. This is Russia. His first problem is that he's white. His second problem is he's a man. His third problem is he's heterosexual. This is not something that can be forgiven today. It's just a catastrophe. Yes, here Griner beats him in every aspect. American voters were given a choice. We were not. A hero who suffered while serving his fatherland. A medal-covered hero who suffered during his service to his fatherland, the United States, or a black lesbian hooked on drugs. I'm not saying this. Who suffered for a vape with hashish and well known for the sake of PR. American voters are choosing the obvious. We are not. I think that for us, it's one more piece of good news. The first good news is that Boot has returned, and the second good news is that a nation that spits on its heroes to the extent that it considers it significantly more important to free a rightfully charged, well-known athlete. She didn't suffer because she served her motherland, but because she couldn't live for 10 hours without hashish. Instead of freeing the person imprisoned for 2 years, 4 I think, for serving his motherland. This says a lot about the state of this society. She's talking about America, of these intelligence agencies. And everything related to geopolitical confrontation. But she's like just laughing at us. The whole time she's laughing when she's saying this. That's where we stand in the world now. It's just crazy. I keep quiet, not right. I think the only vax that was safe one or safer was the J&J. No, there was a lot of problems with J&J. My brother's injured from J&J. They just didn't give as much of it, so you didn't see as many of the injuries because the drug companies were pushing the mRNA. And J&J is mRNA, whether you realize it or not. It just uses a viral vector to get the spike protein to manufacture in your cell. It uses Oh, shoot, it's adenovirus. It uses an adenovirus, which is interesting because we had all these kids getting really sick and going into liver failure with a specific kind of adenovirus, and there's an adenovirus in that J&J jab. So yeah, that's what's going on with all of this with Brittany Griner, and like I said, that was ridiculous that she would get sentenced to however long she got sentenced to for having weed, but, I mean, we left a Marine over there who's been over there for years, and his letter was just pitiful. He's like, "My bags are packed. I don't understand why the US government cannot get me home." It's because we don't give a rip, that's why. And I cannot imagine, I mean, with this guy, with Boot as a bargaining chip, I can't imagine that we could not have pushed to get both of them home, or at least get the Marine home. I mean, she had not been over there very long. Um, yes, may seem unjust to us, but is not unjust. She knew what their laws were, and she broke their laws. She got caught, and she got sentenced. Um, this guy's just in service to his country. I don't think either one belongs there, but boy, amazing how quick we could get her back and didn't even ask about him apparently. But hold on, I wanted to see if I could find this. Um, it's hold on, I gotta go back here. Well, I'm just gonna have crazy. It's so weird that I restarted my computer. I did some updates and now my computer's acting all weird. Um, Goodness, there's still stuff going on in the news. We just got word that Carrie Lake filed a 70-page lawsuit to throw out fraudulent Arizona midterm elections. Um, Hold on, I'll share that with you so you guys can see what's going on there. Penny, I'm not seeing anything showing except the intro for tonight and your smiling face. Is it my laptop? Just try refreshing. Hold on, you probably can't see that. Madeline. Thank you for the clarification. I didn't bother digging into them that much. I just noped out from all of them. Oh, from all the shots. Yeah, me too. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me pull this up. Hopefully this is working. I'm showing me as up. No, I don't want to invite a guest. I want to share my screen. Chrome tab. Gateway button. Share. Okay. Okay. For the love of God. Carrie Lake files a okay, let's go down here. Filed a lawsuit to nullify the 2022 midterm election results for the governor's race in the state of Arizona. I don't even see how they could certify these things. The Gateway Pundit reported earlier that Carrie Lake filed her lawsuit. We now have the full document to share with readers. Attorney Kurt Olson told the Gateway Pundit, "We have put forward evidence that unquestionably shows that this election was stolen with illegal votes and likely fraudulent votes. The lawsuit begins, the eyes of the country are on Arizona." It's interesting, but I'm not going to read that. 72% of likely voters said they agree with Lake's statement, which was, I guess, that it was botched. Never in U.S. history has there been so much evidence compiled of a fraudulent election taking place. In the filing this afternoon, Lake campaign claims hundreds of thousands of illegal votes were counted in the election. 59% of Maricopa County precincts had broken tabulators or printers on election day, disenfranchising voters. Now, keep in mind, these things all worked just fine the day before. And tens of thousands of illegal mail-in ballots were counted that did not pass signature verification. The Gateway Pundit is reviewing the document that was presented in court on Friday. According to the filing, the number of illegal votes cast in Arizona's general election on November 8th far exceeds 17,117 vote margin between Carrie Lake and Katie Hobbs. Witnesses who were present at the Maricopa County Tabulation and Election Center, Runbeck Election Services, and I've talked about Runbeck Election Services and how dirty they are before, and a multitude of Maricopa County vote centers, as well as other facts meticulously gathered, show hundreds of thousands of illegal ballots. The thing about Runbeck is when the ballots were going to Runbeck for tabulation, nobody goes with those. Runbeck just handles that. Runbeck basically is running the election. without supervision. The whole thing, they were involved in the 2020 shenanigans. Updated and official results. Okay. Maricopa County officials also permitted the counting of tens of thousands of mail in and drop in ballots that did not satisfy signature verification requirements. Here's an example of a certified signature on an Arizona mail in ballot from the filing. Okay, so it's signed here and signed here, I guess. Um, the remedy for illegal absentee ballots is either to set aside the election under Miller, 179 Arizona, or proportionately to reduce each candidate's share of mail-in ballots. As set forth, the Maricopa County Election Board and the election officers in Maricopa County engaged in misconduct that nullifies the results of the 2022 election in Maricopa County by failing to prevent the entirely foreseeable problems that afflicted the voting at voting centers on Election Day, and by failing to follow Arizona laws with respect to signature verification and chain of custody. They got screenshots of text messages between IT workers hired by Maricopa County. So here's one: tabulators aren't reading ballots. It's maybe 50-50. Ballots are coming out crooked. I'm having a 9/11. Tabulators aren't reading. What is the current record for tech mileage of an election day? Because I'm at 166. Worship and Word Church still has at least 50. They had lines around the building all day. I'll help break equipment down when they close unless told otherwise. Um, geez. Um, so there's the whole filing. That's about that. Make sure you guys are still in here. The Griner situation. I don't know. Hey guys, you can see me, right? Yeah, I think it's just you because I'm coming up fine. Maybe try like going out and just completely coming back in. We had Roy Rat says we had broken tabulators in our tiny Cochise County town. Yeah, I heard Cochise is one of the ones they're contesting. It was chaos, but we were stubborn. We left and came back and made sure we voted. Were you able to check and make sure your vote went through? Madeline says my ex-boyfriend got J&J twice. About 3 months ago, he showed up with a rare throat cancer, and within his mouth, he's going through chemo 2 weeks. Jeez, I'm so sorry about that. The poor election volunteers. Thanks, Rose. They were just frazzled, and we were all trying to keep our cool with them, and we did because we knew dang well what was going on. We're still the wild what yeah, you guys are. Yep, see you. Thank you, Mount Claim. Just kidding, I can see my comment. What platforms are you reading comments on and interacting with viewers? Elizabeth, I'm on Rumble, and I'm on Facebook, and I think I'm on YouTube, but that one's probably gonna get taken down. Um, I don't normally go to YouTube, but there's some issue with my computer, and I can't the screen's black, so I can't see where the little check marks are to uncheck certain things, so I don't normally do this one on my Rumble channel or on my YouTube channel. Um, a heart attack, rushed to the hospital, it was a blood clot, he's scared. I would imagine he is scared. They are if you go to, Madeline, go to the last video that I did, the last live stream that I did, and in the description section, there's a link over to the I think it's the FLCC CDocs who have a post-jab protocol, and he needs to be on that. And that should be it. Just click on that link in there, and it's right there for you. But yeah, I would definitely get him started on that. That's just crazy. And ivermectin certainly wouldn't hurt the cancer either. Ivermectin has, some very good anti-cancer, action to it. Then we've got the military. Apparently, guys, I was in the Army, it was for a short time. I got a flu shot, which I'm allergic to, had a serious reaction to it, almost died, and then they discharged me with an entry-level separation saying that I wasn't ever fit for duty because I couldn't have that shot, but they knew that when I went in, so anyway, I tried to fight it but couldn't fight it. Got to, just days before graduation from basic. So, what is going on here? Explicit photos, so if your kids are up. A secret group of pups and pup handlers in the U.S. military have been exposed after some soldiers spoke out and didn't want a cover-up anymore. Wow. So that's U.S. Army Colonel Brian Connolly without his pup mask. I'm guessing this is him. Who's posting for official military pictures with a pup mask on? I didn't even know these were a thing. The identity of Pup Ravage is Colonel Brian Conley, retired of Indo-PACOM. That is. Conley is heavily involved in pup kink community in Hawaii and had a relationship with a subordinate who also engages in pup kink. Nice. Um, Conley wore his pup mask in military spaces. What the you guys, we couldn't do crap. Like, I had a friend that went or one of my kids' friends went into the military several years ago, and he was sending pictures of himself in the dining hall, and I'm like, "How are you getting these pictures?" He's like, "Oh, we're allowed to have our phones." I'm like, "What the heck? Are you kidding me?" We weren't even allowed to call home. Um, Conley was in a relationship with Captain Dayton Tenney, a fellow Army pup in Hawaii. Wow. Um They're involved in a pup kink this is what's going on in our military. Like, and apparently it is okay to wear with your uniform. No one is like, that would not have been allowed. If I had tried to wear any kind of mask with my uniform, I would have been disciplined for that. I probably would have lost some pay, lost some time off base. Soldiers finally spoke out about the pup fetish because they didn't want it covered up anymore. Well, sure. I mean, why should your fetish be kept to your bedroom? That's crazy. Now Colonel Donnelly will forever be tied to the U.S. Army through his pup kink and disgrace to his uniform. Some soldiers have finally spoken out. They don't want to cover up. Donnelly wasn't quiet about his fetish, and he engaged in it with a subordinate officer. And there you go. Conley posted a photo of himself in uniform and on flight line with his pup mask on talking about his fetish. I'm a pup. I'm an alpha rearing other pups. Rearing other pups. You are not a dog. This is Do you remember when we started talking about this whole fluctuating sexuality and gender and all this stuff? And, people were like, well, pretty soon people are going to think they're dogs and here we are. Here we are. I'm sure I'm going to have to take this video off of YouTube. Or I'll lose my other page there. The Army pups posted sexually explicit photos of themselves. I don't know how graphic that's going to be. I'm trying to sneak up on it. Let's just not go down any further. Well, it's Gateway Pundit. How Oh, wow. Well, okay, there you go. The Army pups posted hardcore porn bondage pictures on Twitter. We're not gonna go down that route. But anyway, that's what's going on in the military. Um, I guess not enough work to be done just saving the country and doing normal military things. Now we have to be out about our fetishes because we don't wanna hide them anymore. Um, I think that was it on those. Yeah, and you guys read about the FBI agent who was in charge of the Russia investigation, who then got hired to run Twitter's, um, um, what is that called where you edit somebody? Why can I not think of that word? Can tell I'm tired. Um, Censorship. This was the lead lawyer in charge of censorship. Well, Shauna, you're welcome. I'm watching from YouTube. Guess we'll see how long I'm able to. Yeah, I'll end up taking this down off YouTube. You can catch it on Rumble. Just because my YouTube channel is mostly near death experience stuff. Actually, that's what it's all supposed to be. And not current events, just because I don't want to lose that channel on YouTube because I'm trying to build my subscriber list there. Um, Madeline said it's gonna be okay. They caught it early. Good. Roy says, "Sorry about the cuss. It's been tense and coaches." Yeah, I'm sure it has. I totally get it. Mount Claim says, "Agree about phone in service. Agree. Would have been discharged." Yeah, we would have never gotten away with this. I mean, if you fell out of a run, your evening was gonna be pretty full because you were gonna be getting some extra exercise. I remember one time I was sitting in they would make us go to these really long classes after lunch, and we'd been up since butt crack of dawn. And, so we would all be trying so hard to stay awake in these terribly boring, just boring classes they would have us in. And so they would make us stand so that we wouldn't fall asleep. I mastered the ability to sleep standing up. I could get a good 15 minutes standing up. It was crazy. I was that tired. Um Roy says, "Oh, no, that's total violation of AR 670-1, and it's UCMG for conduct unbecoming." Yes, I get a goofy picture here and there. That's part of soldiering, but this, no. Right, right. Yeah, there's all kinds of soldiers were definitely a bunch of, jokesters and things like that and played jokes and pranks on each other. Um, that's j there's a certain amount of hazing that's good-natured that goes on, but this is something totally different. Madeline says, "I've been trying for months, sending dozens and dozens of informative videos, most especially Penny's. He doesn't want to speak to me. I tried so hard to talk him out of getting them." Yeah, you know what, Madeline? You just can't do it. It's so frustrating, especially knowing what we know for as long as we've known it. It's and I mean, my own kids, all of our kids got vaccinated. I'm like, "What are you doing? How is it that people who don't know me are like, 'Yep, that makes pretty good sense. She's showing some good data there. She's really backing up the stuff she's telling us.'" And the kids are like, "No, the government says it's safe." I'm like, "What? I did not raise you to trust the government. Who are you children?" Somebody swapped them at birth, I'm sure of it. I blame the Cab Scouts for this. I don't know what that is. Do I wanna know? All right, what else do I have for you here? I got this one. Um, if you guys haven't seen the cringe Hillary singing "I Will Survive" on, like, a carpool karaoke thing, don't. I watched it. I can just tell you don't. Um, all right, hold on, I'm looking for one other thing here. Not that one. Where'd it go? Oh, this one. Did you guys see this? Tina Turner's son dies suddenly and unexpectedly. So sad. Singer-songwriter Tina Turner on Friday mourned the death of her son, Ronnie. Tina Turner's son died suddenly at the age of 62. That's my husband's age. According to reports, Ronnie Turner was having difficulty breathing minutes before he died. "Ronnie, you left the world far too early. In sorrow, I close my eyes and think of you, my beloved son," Tina Turner said on Instagram. So sad. According to TMZ, Ronnie Turner was having trouble breathing. Tina Turner and her family have just suffered another devastating loss. Her son Ronnie has died, TMZ has learned. Law enforcement sources tell TMZ they received a 911 call Thursday morning from a person who said Ronnie was outside their home and having a hard time breathing. A few minutes later, he wasn't breathing at all. Paramedics rushed to the San Fernando Valley address where bystanders were attempting CPR, but the efforts didn't work and he was pronounced dead at the scene. It's currently unclear what led to Ronnie's medical emergency, but we know he's had health issues for years, including cancer. It was back in 2018 when Tina's oldest son, Craig, died by suicide. Tina gave birth to Craig before she met Ike, but he adopted Craig once they wed. As for Ronnie, he too made a name for himself in Hollywood as an actor in What's Love Got to Do with It in the 90s. Isn't that sad? Seeing so much of that died suddenly. And it's they just they have this willful ignorance. They're like, we don't know what it could be. It could be cold showers. People are into this cold plunging thing. Maybe that's it. I'm like, people have done that forever. What are you talking about? Um, Hold on, there was another one here. Oh, shoot, where'd it go? Not that one. Oh, this one. I know you guys wanted to read the cross-dressing book for kindergartners, but we're not gonna. So FBI reportedly investigating at least 5 electricity substation attacks in Washington and Oregon, similar in North Carolina. In light of recent assaults on power substations, I had not even heard about this until today. In the South, of course, I slept most of the week, but and on the West Coast, authorities are looking into an increasing number of reported threats to power infrastructure. The Gateway Pundit previously reported that a massive power outage in North Carolina was caused by 2 substations being damaged by gunfire last week, according to Moore County Sheriff's Office. Over 40,000 people were left without power because of the crashes. Mike Cameron of the Southern Pines Fire and Rescue Department told CNN that a gate at one of the locations was taken off the hinges. Well, that shouldn't be something that could be easily done, I would think. So they're showing the gate there off the hinges. Duke Energy spokesman Jeff Brooks told WRAL that crews are experiencing multiple equipment failures at substations in Moore County. "We're actively investigating signs of potential vandalism related to the outages," Brooks said. According to recent reports, the FBI is investigating similar attacks in Washington and Oregon in November. The Seattle Times reported that Puget Sound Energy, the Cowlitz County Public Utility District, and Bonneville Power Administration have all said they are cooperating with a federal investigation into the attacks. However, the FBI has declined to confirm that it's conducting such an investigation. Well, I mean, it'd be nice if they'd confirm what work they actually do besides harassing citizens. An internal federal law enforcement memo warning of the recent attack has been obtained exclusively by News Nation. Power companies in Oregon and Washington have reported physical attacks on substations using hand tools, arson, firearms, and metal chains, possibly in response to an online call for attacks on critical infrastructure. In recent attacks, criminal actors bypassed security by cutting the fence links, lighting nearby fires, shooting equipment from a distance, or throwing objects over the fence and onto the equipment. Arrest these people. Do they not have security monitoring? Beyond this month's incidents in South Carolina and North Carolina, where lights flickered back on Wednesday, in Oregon, a substation in Clackamas was damaged in a deliberate physical attack over the Thanksgiving holiday. They discovered a cut perimeter fence and damaged equipment. In Washington state, two incidents occurred in late November at two different, this kind of reminds you of all the wildfires and stuff that went on. And two Cowlitz County Public Utility District substations were vandalized in mid-November. They have no further, they're just never going to get to the bottom of it. I'm like, I just feel like if I did something wrong, there would be nowhere I could hide. They would find me. No, this is the other one. They would find me, they would jail me. There would be no issue with it. It would be super easy. They would take me down. They'd do it in a really public way. It wouldn't take them 2 seconds to find me. Um, Shauna, you're welcome. I blame education of colleges to trust the inconceivable lies of socialism. I'm 21 with 43 years of experience at it, still 21. Hey, me too. That's great. I love that. Okay. After destroying millions of lives, Fauci cries about low-life trolls harassing his wife and children. Okay, so let's remember who Dr. Fauci's wife is. Dr. Fauci's wife is head of ethics, like ethical research on humans or something at the NIH. The same place he works. He's over the NIAID, but they're all under the NIH and under HHS, above that. And then his daughter works for Twitter. So I'm like, okay, these aren't just innocent bystanders. Your wife is involved in ethics. This is the same wife, Grady. I can't remember her first name, but she's the same person who was having this conversation, or there was an article by them, by her and Mandeep Mehra. Mandeep Mehra is one of the authors of the fake hydroxychloroquine study that got all of the hydroxychloroquine studies canceled, right? Somehow he still is able to practice. I don't know how that works. But he and she were both discussing, what is her first name? That they think that we need to go, so when you take an organ from someone, if that person has HIV and you know it, you're only allowed to put that organ into somebody who has HIV. Same with hepatitis or things like that. Well, they're wanting to make it just instead of telling the person that the donor had a communicable disease, they just want to do a general sign off, like a general consent that you understand that you could get a communicable disease by getting an organ transplant, and that's it. Even if they directly know the person has HIV or hepatitis, and their theory on this is because there are treatments for both. And so it would be better to have HIV and just be on lifelong treatment for it and get the organ that you need and not die from that. And I'm like, well, sure, maybe, but I think it ought to be that person's choice. But there's this big ethical debate going on about that. And then his daughter works at Twitter. And then the other one, I think, is a teacher or something. After destroying millions of lives with COVID lockdowns, Fauci is now crying about low-life trolls harassing his wife and children. Fauci destroyed millions of lives with his COVID policies. He also lied to the public about his role in funding the Wuhan lab that created the COVID-19. He just came out, like in the last week, and said he was pretty sure this was a naturally occurring virus. We have multiple studies out saying that this is absolutely a synthetic lab-created virus. And they've shown how they know that that's what it is. I mean, study after study. The Lancet, these aren't like small studies. or publications. Dr. Fauci also lied to the public about his role in funding the Wuhan lab. Meanwhile, he gets to retire a multimillionaire. Fauci told BBC that low-life trolls are harassing his wife and children and trying to figure out where they live. Well, that's not hard to do. I figured out where they were and what they did with a Google search. Um, I have good security protection, but I really think it's so cowardly to harass people who are completely uninvolved, including my children. Your child is not completely uninvolved. Your child is part of the censorship team at Twitter. I don't know if she still is. These people who troll about, they harass my wife and my children, he said, he acts like his wife is, just a housewife and she's at home making cookies and like she's not in the thick of all this COVID stuff, which she absolutely is. I try my best not to let that distract me. Oh gosh, well, aren't you incredible? Um, Only Fauci is allowed to destroy lives. Hopefully that'll work. I don't know if I have the sound. I do not. Hold on. We don't want to go and listen to that whole thing anyway. Dr. Fauci flip-flopped and lied for over a year to the American public about the seriousness of the China virus and his background funding the Chinese virology lab and the origins of the virus. Dr. Fauci also lied to the American public about the success of the safe drug hydroxychloroquine in treating the virus. He absolutely lied about that. Hundreds of thousands of Americans died when HCQ was available, but banned by Fauci and the CDC from COVID patients. Not only was it available, because you had pharmacies saying there was a shortage. No, they stocked the national stockpile with this stuff and just didn't let anybody use it. Fauci also flip-flopped on mask wearing several times throughout the pandemic. On March 8th, 2020, he advised healthy Americans against wearing face masks. April 2020, he said we should be wearing face masks. May 2020, masks are no more than symbols. January 25th, 2021, wear 2 masks instead of 1. And then a week later, Dr. Fauci backtracked on that insane idea of wearing multiple masks. Not really. But yeah, his crying foul, I have no sympathy for this guy. He's just rotten to the core. Rotten to the core. Did you guys see this one? Um, this little gal's persistent. Republican wins 1A House election by 11 votes after recount. Machines declare Democrat winner. Hand count revealed Republican. Iowa's House District 81 race has been nothing short of chaotic. After a series of 4 recounts, Republican Luana, is that right? Luana Stoltenberg has officially defeated Democrat Craig Cooper for Iowa's House District 81 seat. Per ABC affiliate WQAD, the recount board carried out both a machine recount and a hand recount. The machine recount declared Democrat Craig Cooper as the winner. However, and I don't know anything about this lady. However, a hand recount revealed Stoltenberg won the race by 11 votes, garnering 5,073 to Cooper's 5,062. Despite Cooper winning the machine recount, Thompson said Iowa law dictates that the recount board can choose which results to use when certifying their report. That's why the recount board chose to certify the hand count instead of the machine count, deeming Stoltenberg the winner. In her administrative recount report to the Iowa Secretary of State's office on Wednesday, Tompkins cited issues with machines jamming during counting. So anyway, that got squared away. Then the other interesting thing I was going to tell you guys. So I got an email this week. It's Bits. Hey, says, speak the truth, Penny. I'm doing it. I'm so honored to be here. I'm such a fan. My 11-year-old named my account. I love that. Well, big hug to your 11-year-old. War takes out Camo and power first, then bridges. Okay, so I got an email the other day. Hold on, let me find my readers here amidst my list of stuff here. What weird night we've had with technical stuff. I had technical stuff all trying to get on here too. So I get this email. Okay, let me give you the backstory. So do you guys remember the little girl that was raped by the illegal alien in Ohio, who then said that she had to travel, her family said she had to travel to Indiana because she couldn't get an abortion in Ohio, which she could have gotten. And then there was the doctor in Indiana who performed the procedure and then went to the news about it. And, I wasn't all so worried about the procedure being done necessarily because this child was 9 when the man began raping her and 10 when she got pregnant and had to have an abortion. Um, I was concerned, did this doctor have permission from this little girl to take this story to the news? If the little girl didn't speak English well, was this permission that she signed, was it given in her native tongue that she could understand? Same for her mother, whoever brought her for the procedure. Was it reported did this doctor report it to the police as required in Indiana? How did she secure the chain of custody on whatever evidence, products of conception that were removed from the child so that there would be no break in that chain of custody so that we can assure a conviction of this person who did this? And those were my concerns, and so I sent a letter of complaint, first of all, because this person went to the news on an issue that would seem to me to be very private and something you shouldn't go to the news about, and it was such a unique situation that it ended up that they were able to figure out who this little girl was, or who the family was. Hold on, let me look and see if I can find it. It was just the other night. Um, so this reporter out of Indiana had sent me a mail thing, and I'm big on not, um getting involved unnecessarily in any kind of drama. I mean, if I need to the reason that I send a complaint to the Secretary of State's office on this was because of my concern for the child, future concerns for her privacy. Was this doctor gonna give any more information? What authorization did she have to give any information to begin with? And it wasn't like she went out and said, "Oh, there's this person who's raping little girls, beware people who live in Ohio," or whatever. No, she just was trying to bring attention to abortion policy, and you don't use a child's rape to do that. Um, Hold on. It's gonna make me mad. Hopefully, I didn't delete it. But she sent me an email, and she wanted to talk to me, um and get and I am just not trusting of reporters because part of the problem is, that what you say is not always what ends up in print, and I didn't wanna take that risk. Um, Dang it. Here it is. So I get this from this reporter. It says, "Hello, Penny. I'm a reporter in Indianapolis." I'm not gonna give her name. Reaching out because your complaint against Dr. Caitlin Bernard was part of an administrative complaint filed against her by the state attorney general. Reaching out to see if you would be willing to talk to me about how you came to file the complaint, since I guess because I don't live in Indiana, and if you're happy with the investigation into Dr. Bernard. Now, I felt like even though I don't live in Indiana, as a retired healthcare professional, had concerns for this child and her safety and her privacy, and you don't necessarily have to live in a state to lodge a complaint. So I said, "Dear Miss Putman, I'm not sure what information I could add that wasn't already included in my complaint. My primary concerns were for the child's immediate safety from the man who confessed to raping her, assuring the chain of custody of all evidence and biological specimens, the personal privacy of the minor child. As for the investigation, I've been following it and had read the court filing. I believe the state is diligently investigating the issue and trust that the Attorney General's office is handling the complaints according to Indiana statutes and laws. I will continue to follow developments as the investigation proceeds. Do you have specific questions that I have not otherwise addressed?" Um, she says, "Thank you for getting back to me. Did you decide to reach out to the Indiana AG's office on your own, or did someone or a website direct you there?" Why would I need direction? "Would you be willing to do an on-camera interview with me? Preferably would have a photographer from our sister station come out to shoot the interview. I don't understand why this is necessary." So, the reason I'm not interested is because I don't really want to bring more attention to that situation. What's happening is what needs to be happening. The attorney general is looking into it. They're looking to see if there was a HIPAA violation. Did she, violate the privacy rights of this child as a minor child? Um, did she inform all of the appropriate agencies that needed to be informed? Now we know I'm pretty sure that she did inform the agency that, I think she informed the state health department that she had performed a procedure on a child under 12. She misstated the father's age, but I don't know what age they told her the father was. I think they said the father was 18, but he's like 30 something. Um, and my thought was, I was curious. I wondered if maybe the reason that they went out of state, because they didn't need to go out of state to get the procedure, because it would have been approved for life of the child. I'm wondering if the reason that they went out of state was because they didn't want this all to come out, because when reporters went to the door of the house where the mother lives and I guess the child, I don't know, the mother's like, "He he didn't do this," but he confessed to it supposedly and is in jail last I heard. So, my thought is, did the mother take her out of state for the procedure hoping that the boyfriend that she's defending would not get in trouble? And because to me, that's the only reason that it makes sense for them to go out of state. Why else would you go out of state? She absolutely could have had that procedure done in state. Um, those rules don't apply for life of the mother. So she absolutely could have gotten the procedure. So there was that. Anyway, so this person wants to talk to me, but my whole point is so other than my just being smart enough to contact the AG because I'm a licensed healthcare professional, retired, um, and I know where all that kind of stuff is handled in our state, it wasn't too difficult to figure out where it's handled there. And so I just submitted this complaint that basically said, "Hey, I'm concerned that, the chain of custody on the evidence might have been broken. Was that maintained so that this prosecution can go through? Did this child sign the consent to have her story shared with a newspaper?" I mean, it was very self-serving, I think, of this doctor. That doesn't necessarily make it illegal. But what if this were your little girl? And having a daughter and granddaughters, I just thought to myself, I would be so upset if this situation happened in our family, and then I took my daughter for this procedure, and then that doctor turned right around and went to the news with the story. I mean, can you imagine if that was your own little girl and it ended up that they figured out where this guy lived, where this woman lived, and, now anybody who knows that child knows that that child was the one that was raped because they saw the mother, they saw the apartment. This is how this happens. I'm sensitive to this as someone who was raped in college, and, I know of other people who have been through this and who the media has put through the ringer over it. Um, and so I just I don't know. I don't understand what the point of doing this interview would be when she has the whole complaint that I made to the AG. I mean, she sent me a copy of it. Um, she has that whole complaint, I think. I mean, maybe she doesn't. I could send her that, I guess. Um, I just don't understand what's to be gained in interviewing me besides bringing more attention on this situation with this poor little girl. I think just let the wheels turn as they need to turn. I'm not somebody who's looking for attention from the media, and I don't trust them. So there's that. Let me know your thoughts on that. Um, And I just don't wanna be misquoted or have things I say taken out of context or anything like that. And I don't wanna say anything or do anything that could potentially influence a jury that might be convened or bring more attention to where they could potentially figure out who this little girl is. I'm really wanting to respect her privacy. Um, it's It says, "You did the right thing. It's so sad. Thank you. We need to be." Yeah, I mean, I was scared that nobody was gonna make a complaint. See, I think people automatically assume that the state gets involved in these things just because they happened, and that's not always the case. Sometimes you need to make a written complaint to get those wheels turning, and it's not punitive or anything. I mean, if she did nothing wrong, the state will find she did nothing wrong, and everything will go back to normal. Um, one of my concerns was that the hospital system that she worked with did a HIPAA investigation and found that they were in compliance, that she was in compliance, and I'm like, "Well, sure, what else would you find?" I mean, that investigation should not come from your organization, it should come from outside your organization. Of course, you're gonna that's like, me going out and crashing the car and conducting the investigation myself and saying, "Nope, I was definitely not in fault." I mean, kind of like our current administration does things. So that bothered me. I felt like there was not an independent check of that, and, if that's something that she's not allowed to do by Indiana law, if she did violate the law, then she needs to be remediated in HIPAA and needs to be reacquainted with, what her job actually is, and her job is not in that setting, as an abortion services provider, her job is not to bring media attention to the people that she takes care of. Her job is to do her job. If she wants to, do advocacy, then that happens outside of the doctor's office, away from the patient, and you don't use their cases to do that, especially a minor child. I mean, this little girl is 10. I just thought it was a disgusting way to push your own, and, no matter how you feel about abortion, we don't do that. That's not appropriate. That's a little girl who's been victimized more than once. The guy said he'd raped her more than once, starting when she was 9. Um, and now she's had to kill her own child because it's not safe for a 10-year-old to have a baby. Who knows what could happen. So now she's endured the trauma of that as well. Then you've got her mom telling the news that this guy didn't do anything, so believing the guy over her. I mean, can we heap anything else on this child? This isn't a media sideshow. These are people's lives. So, no, I'm not going to give you an interview. No, I'm not going to be on camera. Um, you'll have to get your story somewhere else. I mean, I'll forward her the complaint so she can read it if she's that curious, but we're not gonna just keep dragging this out. Um, Madeline says, "Sorry, I just remembered that whistleblower after finding the issues with the vials. She went to the bottling floor and discovered big bags of liquid being poured into the giant vats. They were from Wuhan, China. I think that's when she was told to." Yeah, I don't remember that. Maybe you're mixing 2 stories. I mean, I can reach out to Melissa and ask her. Um, but yeah, hold on, let me see if I can find that interview for you. Oh, I found a funny video for you guys, but I couldn't get it open. Hang on a second here. Uh, this one, that's the right channel. For some reason, I have 2 channels. I don't know why. Salty Cracker was saying he has 2 channels too, so apparently it's not just me who can't do it right. Not that one. I think I got quite a few watches on this video too. Hold on. Come on. Oh, for the love of gosh, I've done a lot of videos. I didn't realize how many I had done. There's all the snake ones. Remember when they were talking about this whole thing being snake venom? I did a whole 3-part series on that. Here we go. It's called the title of it is "Truth Does Not Need Defending." Truth defends itself, which is not my quote. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put this link in here for you. That's the Melissa McAtee interview. And we talked for a while. She has a faith-based channel too. If you go to my channel on YouTube, she's one of the people that I'm following, so you can find her that way. All right. There's the link to that interview. Okay, so I have one more. Hold on, let me find this last thing I wanted to show you guys. Hopefully it came through. Uh, Britton. Oh, Sam Britton. I forgot to tell you about Sam Britton, you guys. This man, um well, first you've got this. So Dylan Mulvaney, who is the guy who's till recently was a man who's now a female, um, apparently this is the guy that went to the White House. Let me copy this. Copy. Apparently he did this video where he's talking about keeping tampons on hand, not because he uses them, because he doesn't, because he's a man, um, but in case somebody else were to need one. And it was funny because I was watching this on Matt Walsh, and Matt Walsh was like, "That just doesn't happen. People don't talk to each other in the stalls." I'm like, "Okay, first of all, Matt Walsh, you've never been a woman. And I can guarantee you every woman has been in the bathroom and had some woman from a stall over say, 'Oh my gosh, you don't happen to have a tampon, do you?' This does happen." Um, I don't expect Matt Walsh to know that, but oh, let me share this. But anyway, so Dylan apparently got all kinds of flack because he said he was gonna start carrying tampons so that if he got into a situation where a woman in a stall needed a tampon, he would be ready. And people freaked out about that. And I'm like, "Really? Of all the things this guy's doing, this is the one that upsets everybody?"
Or I'll say woman for this one because this video is for the women on Twitter who just really don't like me. Hello, ladies. We got a lot to cover, but let's first talk tampons. I haven't talked about tampons on here lately because I don't use them. I'm a woman who doesn't have a uterus. I know this. And science was my strongest subject in high school. I was also shockingly good at math, but I digress. I just sometimes carry one in case anybody needs it. And that seems to have just set the world on fire in some pretty nasty ways. And this is a conversation that's been going on for months. I just haven't chimed in because I'm so tired of sticking up for myself over something that was so pure intentioned. But now Twitter is just ablaze. And this week, there's some women that are now coming for Tampax, and I wanted to clear the air. So I have some amazing news. Are you ready? I have never worked with Tampax before. The most that happened was they sent me a few boxes of tampons back in April, just in case I bumped into anyone, including yourselves, and I gave them all away. I've got a few left. And this one's really going to blow your mind.
She's like the Santa
I
of
have
tampons.
never made $1 off of feminine hygiene products. So I hope that helps you sleep better at night knowing that. And no need to bring Tampax into this. But the bigger problem at hand is that you feel me carrying a tampon around is a threat to you and your womanhood. How is someone doing something nice so repulsive to you? Because listen to this. If a man, whether he was your boyfriend or your husband, could even be your gay best friend, kept a tampon for you at his house just in case you needed it, you'd gush over him. You would run to brunch on Sunday and tell all your gal pals that he's so thoughtful and he cares and he listens. And then a trans woman does it, and all of a sudden I'm the reason that there's a tampon shortage. You know, it's not because I'm misogynistic, it's because you're transphobic. You know, we gotta work through this. And babe, caring for others, it's the bare minimum. You know, you might not like me, but I care about you. I care about your feelings. I care about your opinion of me, which I'm really trying to get over. Caring for others, it's the bare minimum. You know, you might not like me, but I...
Okay, so there's Dylan. Um, so people are, kind of all tore up about Dylan. I don't really care. When I tell people I don't care what you do in your home or what gender you perceive yourself to be, I really don't care. I have friends that are transgender, um, Facebook friends. Um, and, I have a lot of people because of the near death experience that message me who are struggling with issues like that. Yes, tampons actually will work well in any kind of puncture wound. Um, but I just I don't know. I think piling on Dylan, I don't think Dylan's causing a tampon shortage or anything like that. Um, I think Dylan is just, an attention hog and is doing whatever Dylan does. And I don't know why people care so much. I'm like, just don't watch. Like, this is probably the least dangerous thing going on right now. I don't see Dylan advocating for this going on in schools. Now she may be, I don't know. Um, for having curriculums that are inappropriate for children or anything like that. So I don't worry about Dylan a whole lot. I'm much more concerned about Sam Britton, because Sam is working for our federal government. And that to me puts you at a level that is much different. Hold on, let me find this thing. So Sam Britton is the guy. Where is it? Hold on, give me a second here. I think we'll just look for it at Gateway. I hate that my links aren't popping up. Hold on. So Sam can't seem to stay out of trouble. Sam is the guy that is the pup play guy. Not the military one, different pup play guy. Apparently this is a big thing. I'd never heard of this. I'm like, can people not think of we just won't even have that conversation. Um, Let me pull this up. Um, did a spanking seminar. Do they not have the most recent on him? No, they don't. Okay, so I'll just have to tell you. So what Sam did was Sam stole another suitcase. I don't know if this is like part of his inability to engage appropriately in the social contract that we're all part of. Um, yeah, I'm not super worried about Dylan at all. So I just don't like, why does he keep stealing suitcases? So he got in trouble and has a felony charge pending against him for allegedly stealing suitcase number 1 in Minnesota, I think, and I can't think of where the other one, but he's stolen another one, and now he has a federal felony warrant. Can you get a federal felony warrant for stealing a suit? That's what they said. I'm like, is it a federal warrant or is it a felony warrant? I couldn't quite get that right. But yeah, Sam's now stolen another suitcase. And I'm like, "What is wrong with you? You're already in trouble, you're already on leave, and then you go and you steal another. Stop it." Like, is the pup play not enough to keep you busy and your bondage lectures that you do at colleges? What I don't understand why you need to keep stealing suitcases. Like, go buy clothes. Somebody looked up his income the other day for me. It's like over 100,000 a year. I'm like, "You can't afford to go buy a piece of luggage or buy your own female clothes? Like, what is Sam Brenton? Stop it." And he's the guy who's in charge of handling our spent nuclear waste. Who's handling our spent nuclear waste while Sam is on leave and while he's prancing around the country in his stiletto heels, by his own admission, that's not me, um, stealing suitcases? Is spent nuclear waste just hanging around in landfills? Like, what is happening with all of this? He's supposed to be doing a job. Dual use, thank you. Gain of function or dual use, that's it. Madeleine says, "This is an interview that Glenn Beck did recently. I only caught the last bit of it. He said this interview was the most informative, shocking, amazing interview." She's 33, brilliant. She now lives in who are we talking about, Madeleine? Are we talking about Melissa? The Pfizer whistleblower? She actually worked for that plant there in Kansas. I know where she's talking about because I used to live in Kansas. We can have Melissa back on. I can send her a text and see if she's got some time to come on soon if you guys wanna have a live and we can talk to her. Sweet, sweet girl. I wish I could remember the name. Oh, that's so good. Jo Madeleine says, "In Peru, what I heard of it was fascinating. Already the most viewed interview." Okay, hold on, I'm trying to get this one. Let me see if I can copy that link. Ah! Oh, Whitney Webb. Yeah, I love Whitney Webb. Whitney Webb, and there's another one. Whitney Webb and, who's the other gal? Whitney Webb and oh, I can't think of her name. Super smart girl. Hold on, let me put that in there. Paste. Let me see what that one is. Oh, this is long. Okay, this is yeah, I think I've actually seen hold on. Yeah, Whitney Webb. I need to see if I could get her on. She is just so smart, um, and relentless with her research. There's another girl, I can't and they're both just little, unassuming girls that you wouldn't think would be doing this big of news, but there's Whitney Webb and there's one other, I cannot think of her name, it'll come to me. But yeah, they're both incredible, but I have seen that one. Um, but I'll reach out to Whitney Webb, and I think Whitney Webb works with the Drastic team, I think maybe she's the one. Oh, no, it's the lady that's on howbadismybatch.com. Is my batch. If you guys don't know, howbadismybatch.com is a site where you can go and put in the serial number or the lot number of the vaccine you got, and you can see how bad that lot is. Hold on. Yikes, what is that? Interesting. They've got a warning up. Says the latest flu vaccine booster scheduled for release in autumn of 2022 contains mRNA for producing 3 variants of spike protein plus the flu vaccine combined into one shot. Don't do that. They've exempted these shots from all safety testing. The spike protein causes extensive damage to internal organs and affects fetal development. Please exercise parental oversight and extreme caution. I'm looking on here to see where their videos are. But anyway, they've got this one gal. She does a lot of their videos. Of course, they don't show any of the images, or my computer's just being weird. Team Enigma, that's what it is. Okay, so you've got Team Enigma is Oh, is it all gonna be a slideshow and no pictures of their faces? Hang on, I'm looking here. This is the gal, though. She's got that, I don't know what her accent is. Vaccines, of course, it doesn't give their names. Where are the details on oh, here we go. It says when 22,000 flu vaccine lots were examined, almost all of them produced 5 or fewer severe adverse reactions per lot. Only 2 lots exceeded this. When the same number of COVID vaccines were compared, there was found to be a huge variation, with many lots producing 5 or fewer severe adverse reactions, but many others producing 1,000 to 5,000 severe adverse reactions. So the coefficient of variation for COVID vaccines is 1,000% compared to the coefficient of variation for flu vaccines. In other words, COVID vaccines varied 10 times more than flu vaccines as far as their ability to cause serious issues. Under FDA regulations, such high variations between different lots and between different manufacturers means the drugs are adulterated, meaning there's stuff in there that shouldn't be in there, and carry significant legal penalties, unless, of course, you're a drug company called Pfizer or Moderna. Hold on, I'm going to put this link up for you guys because it's a long video. Paste. Okay, let me come over here and put it up for you guys here. Yeah, Whitney's she's done so much. Her body of work is extensive, extensive. She also did the mock Nuremberg trial thing that the lawyer, I can't think of his name, German lawyer that was involved in the lawsuit with Volkswagen. I have to know what you're drinking. That's so good. Tea or cocoa? I am drinking chamomile tea, like with the loose tea, not with the bags. But then I think I didn't put enough chamomile in it or something. And so I'm adding this to it. So it's Twinings. I don't know what that is. Honeybush Mandarin Orange. It's so good. And then I just have loose leaf chamomile and I've got a little honey in it and some vanilla creamer, which makes everything better. Oh, anyway, I wanted to show you guys that one video. I keep forgetting to show it to you. Whitney Webb. What is that other girl's name? Isn't that funny how you never can remember? It get me on the spot and I cannot remember anything. Hold on a second here. In Viral Hog. There we go. Okay, hold on. I look for at least one funny video for you guys every week because life's hard. And for some reason, this one didn't pull up because everything went to crap today with tech. I still can't figure out why I can't see half of what's on my screen. Not that one. Hold on, give me a second. Of course, they always add like 20 videos in the time it takes me to get back to the one. And you can't save anything on Rumble. I hate this. This is it. This cat's name is Cream, which is a perfect name for a cat. Hold on. Let me come over here and share the screen. Oh, the fashion show. It's crazy. Okay, here we go. Watch this cat. Let me get this all queued up here. Is that the best fatness you've ever seen? Look at him just hanging over there. Oh no, I don't know what that warning is. Stop it. That's just the best thing I've seen all week. I was cracking up. I have never I'd always thought that I was really, like I had a good poker face, and it's so funny because I said it to my friend Roger one time. I'm like, "Well, nobody ever really knows what's going on in my head," and he laughed, and I'm like, "What?" We were talking on the phone, um, and I can't remember he said, "You are so easy to read. He's like, "I could tell you right now, you're twirling your hair while I'm talking to you," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how did he know that? That's so creepy." I've known him forever. Um, but anyway, then I said it to Don once. I'm like, "Well, people don't know what's going on with me because I'm just, I'm very good at holding my expressions in." And he's like, "What who are you talking about? No, you're not." You'd be the best person to play. Hey, Wolf. Um, he's like, you're the best person to play. Well, we don't start till 9:30. He said you'd be the best person to play poker with because you're so expressive. And I was astounded to learn this. Right. Then I started doing videos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I. But anyway, I can't remember why I was telling you that, but it was just funny because I had this in this, because you don't see yourself. And and here I thought I was able to just, keep a really straight face and not show my reactions and stuff. And he's like, "No, no, I can you're all over the place. Your eyebrows are all over the place." And um so things you don't learn about yourself until you start a YouTube channel. Why was I telling you guys that? Heck, who knows? It's been that kind of a week. Wolf, how you been? We've had the flu over here this week. It's been big fun. Actually, we did really well for having the flu. Don didn't have even one day of fever. But, he was still man cold miserable. Sorry I'm late. A bunch of yeah, same here. Hey, I did some kind of something. I don't know if I installed an program or something to my computer or if I just rebooted it or whatever, but now it's all in this weird dark mode and I can't see some of the check boxes. I went to the display, I can't figure out how to fix it because the boxes are dark and I can't read them. So, I'll have to find you. I'll come find you on Locals and see if you can help me. Wolf, have you had an interesting week? Wolf does, you work at a college, right? Doing security, which I think has got to be the most interesting job. I had a friend that used to work security at a college. He always had great stories, almost as good as all the nurse stories. But you've got a lot of those kind of stories too. So anyway, we were talking about the military and talking about um, this new pup play fetish thing that's going on in the military. And apparently you can wear those masks with your military uniform and it's just fine because, we don't want anybody to be ashamed of the secret things they do. I'm like, that's the whole point of secret things, shame. Whatever secret thing you're doing, the whole thing that makes it fun is that A, it's a secret, and B, you'd be ashamed if anybody found out, right? That's the whole excitement of doing things that you don't want people to find out about. My thought is now that you're out in the open and you're just doing your pup thing everywhere you go, I think it's going to be less fun because now everybody knows and nobody's shocked by it anymore. And so you don't have a secret. Part of the excitement of anything is it being a secret. Wolf says tired, work night shift, short turn. Fire alarm, students trapped in a chapel. Oh my gosh, fought with old school door, unlocked study room request, go back to fighting the door. Ran like a chicken with my head cut off. Furries. Oh, so is it the furry thing the same? See, there's just so many things I don't. There was something I said one night. It was so funny because Don like sat me down and he's got this idea that I'm like naive and I don't know stuff. I know stuff. I mean, there's stuff I don't know. But he's like, "You're like a lamb, you're just innocent." I'm like, "I worked as a nurse. I've heard way more weird stuff than you've heard." And he's like, "No, no, it's just how you are. You just don't." I don't quite get what he's saying, but anyway. So, um, where was I going with that? Isn't that crazy? I cannot think tonight. Um, oh, so one night I was talking about, um, that we all want a happy ending, and so he pulled me aside after my live stream, and he's like, "Sweetheart, probably don't say that. Like we all want things to turn out well," or, I can't remember, he gave me some other options, and I'm like, "Why? Everybody knows, the happy ending. Everybody knows what that means." He's like, "I don't think you know what that means." And so he told me, and I was like, "Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it still applies. Everybody wants a happy ending, but I didn't realize that was what it meant." Wolf says, "I don't know, but those masks and uniform are right, they are unauthorized." That's what I thought. I saw those and I was like, that you can't pose for a military portrait with your pup mask on. You're just not allowed to do that." The one guy supposedly is retired, but he's, I guess a lot of retired guys keep their dress uniform, but he's in his dress uniform and he's wearing that. And I'm like, and he apparently was having pup play with a officer subordinate to him, which is against the rules too. I don't know specifically that pup play is, but the whole subordinate thing you get. But anyway, I was gonna show you something, and now I forgot what it was. It's been kind of an S show here tonight. I'm live streaming to YouTube, which I'm not supposed to be doing. I don't stream this show to YouTube because I don't wanna get my channel blocked on YouTube. And I'm getting close. I think I've only been on that channel, I think not quite 2 months, and I'm at, like, 730 people. I'm almost to 1,000, so it moves a lot faster than Rumble does for sure. So I don't wanna mess that up. So I'll have to go on tonight after this live stream is done and take it down. People will have to come here to Rumble to watch it. I don't know. It's Bits, you're watching it on YouTube. Do you think it's something that they'll take down? I mean, I feel like I equally make fun of, all of the people. And I don't do it in a mean-spirited way. Like, the whole thing with Dylan and the tampons, I'm like, "Well, I don't care about Dylan and the tampons. I think Dylan's probably fine," and, um, odd, yes. Definitely, um, got some interesting things going on there. I don't know. I don't know if these are, like, artistic people, because a lot of times artistic people are kind of eccentric and have to, push the boundaries on everything. I mean, I don't really care, but it's just interesting to get to that point of your life, and then you're like, "You know what? I'm pretty sure I'm a girl now," when I've been a man the whole time. I don't know how it works. Most people that I know of, people that have, like, reached out to me and stuff have struggled with this since they were little kids, not little, like, toddler little, but since they were teenagers. Not just suddenly one day, they're like, "I'm gonna be a girl now." Um, Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't care what you do as long as you don't pull children into it. Um, Hold on a second here. I'm looking, yeah, there's the pup play. I won't show you, Wolf, because you've had a hard week and you shouldn't have to see that again. We'll have to get off here soon so I can eat. My stomach is growling. Okay, yeah, here's the one I was looking for earlier. Okay, hold on, let me share this. Hello, friends, and Penny from Illinois. I love you and thank you for sharing with us. Well, hello, Bonnie. It's good to have you aboard. Well, I'm not actually supposed to be streaming to YouTube because this isn't tea time. This is my COVID-19 Warrior show, but I've um I've just wrecked everything tonight. So here we are. Here we go. This is a Twitter thing. It's Bit says, "My name is PJ. After I saw your video, I wrote down God's message and I've written it down and handed out to so many people almost every you're so sweet. You know what? I'm thinking about doing when we get to 1,000 people on the YouTube channel, I think I'm gonna have that printed up really nice and framed, and then just pick a number between 1 and 1,000 and mail it to whoever that person is. Um, I just thought that'd be a cool little celebration. Okay, here we go. This is Twitter in a pickle. Poor Twitter. I mean, it's owned by Elon now, so I guess it doesn't matter, but, everybody that, like, has been involved in the censorship and the FBI and all this stuff, all the people that testified in front of Congress that were like, "No, no, we're not shadow banning people, we're not censoring people, we're not turning down their reach." It gave sworn testimony in front of congressional committees are now like, "Oh, crap." I'm like, "This is why we don't lie, just tell the truth." I mean, it would have been scary for sure to tell the truth because, I'm sure these people are like, "Man, if I tell the truth, I might not be here tomorrow." But, this is why if you're having to justify something that you're doing every day, if you have to justify it, it's wrong. If something's right, you don't have to justify it. So you gotta make good decisions every day because look at the mess piling up here. So the third installment of Elon Musk's Twitter files was released Friday evening tonight. Then the internal communications surrounding Twitter's decision to Trump from the platform was released. Trump was banned from Twitter on January 8th, 2021. Journalist Matt Taibbi, I think, on Friday dropped part 3 of the Twitter files, which turned out to be part 1 of the Trump files, October 2020, January 6th. The part 2 will be released on Saturday, and part 3 that was released or okay, proof that Twitter executives were meeting regularly with the FBI in an ongoing effort to censor conservatives, including President Trump. Now fired Twitter executive Joel Roth, who recently did this meeting where he was just insufferable, um, with the FBI. was meeting the FBI and other government officials weekly. This is a huge release. It also happens to coincide with the Missouri and Louisiana lawsuit that we talked about earlier with plaintiff Jim Hoft, who is, I think he runs the Gateway Pundit, but he also writes these articles too. From the Gateway Pundit on government and social media collusion to silence conservative voices in America today. Whether you're progressive or conservative, it doesn't matter. You should still be able to talk. And just the fact that somebody disagrees with you does not make it hate speech. Even if someone's mean to you, this whole hate speech thing has just gotten way overblown. It also happens to coincide with the Missouri and Louisiana lawsuit with plaintiff Jim Hoft from the Gateway Pundit. We said that part. This is really big news. Taibbi posted incriminating text messages from Twitter policy director Nick Pickles. Isn't that a great name? Nick Pickles. Look, if things had worked out different, I could have been Mrs. Penny Pickles. How great would that have been? But alas, it wasn't to be. I went to school with a boy named Tommy Nichols, and I always thought it'd be super cool if we got married because then I could be Penny Nichols. But that didn't work out either. Doggone it. So Matt Taibbi says during this time, executives are also clearly liaising with federal enforcement and intelligence agencies about moderation of election-related content. While we're still at the start of reviewing the Twitter files, we're finding out more about these interactions every day. Policy Director Nick Pickles, Penny Pickles, it's so funny, is asked if they should say Twitter detects misinfo through ML, human review, and partnerships with outside experts. The employee asks, I know that's been a slippery process. Not sure if you want our public explanation to hang on that. So they're basically saying, what lies can we tell about how we did this? Because there's no policy that would allow it. Pickles quickly asks if they could just say partnerships. After a pause, he says, not sure we'd describe FBI, DHS as experts. So he's saying that they're collaborating with the FBI and DHS. And it now looks like they actually had a portal where they could go in independently of people from Twitter and just take stuff out if they wanted to. That's going to be an interesting reveal when that part comes out. In Taibbi's 20th tweet tonight, Twitter admits Yoel Roth was meeting weekly with the FBI. Pickles quickly asks if they could just say partnerships. After a pause, he says, not sure. We would describe FBI, DHS as experts. This post about the Hunter Biden laptop situation, it's so funny because people are like, oh, who cares? It's just naked pictures of Hunter Biden. No. We don't care about the naked pictures of Hunter Biden. That's just gross. That was just a penalty for looking at the information. I don't care about his drug use either. I feel very bad that he was raised in a home that has brought him to this point as an adult. I think that's just childhood trauma is just so when you put your dad's name in your phone as Pedo Peter, it just makes me believe that that's what you think he is. And I cannot imagine what it would be like to grow up in that home. And I would imagine that drugs are probably the only way he's found to cope. And I just think that's all very sad. And I'm very sensitive to that, thus the rape case that I don't want to get into a thing with a reporter on just to, make some kind of sensational news story. I just don't want to do that. I want that little girl to be able to heal and not have reporters, questioning people about her or her case. But anyway, we don't care about the drug use or the inappropriate sexual behavior. Like I said, it was just kind of a punishment for looking at any of it. What we care about is that Biden is sharing a bank account, that he definitely is involved in these China dealings and these dealings in Ukraine and in Russia. And it just goes on, and you cannot be uncompromised. And he lied about it, to us, to get elected. He knew all of this was true. And so that's the big concern for everybody that's like, oh, who cares about some naked pictures? Nobody. And they're like, well, Biden was just trying to get naked pictures of his kid taken down. Any parent would do that. Okay. But Hunter Biden is my age. He's not a child. And the reason that these pictures are out is because, these pornographic videos and things are out is because he posted them on pornographic websites. I think Pornhub. I think that's right. Not under his own name. I can't remember how that all went. So that can't be undone. That was already out there. I mean, I guess he could take the videos down if he has an account, but, I mean, he was also sending these videos to his dad. I mean, who sends their homemade porn videos to their parent? This is a really messed up relationship, but that's not what we're worried about. We're worried about the dealings with China and Ukraine and, backdoor dealing that is very worrisome. Um, so what does that say? Hunter Biden shows that Roth has checked in. Anyway, has checked in. Here's what they said. What's new for you since our last checked in? Hacked materials exploded. We blocked the NYP story, then we unblocked it, New York Post story, but said the opposite, then said we unblocked it, and now we're in a messy situation where our policy is in shambles, comms is angry, reporters think we're idiots, and we're refactoring an exceedingly complex policy 18 days out from the election. In short, I don't know what those initials mean. Weekly sync with FBI, DHS, DNI regarding election security. The meeting happened about 15 minutes after the aforementioned hacked materials, which they knew they weren't hacked, implosion. The government declined to share anything useful when asked. Monthly meetings with FBI, FITF, briefed on several ongoing. So he's just kind of giving an update there of what's going on. But, the whole time they're like, no, 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 we're not working with the FBI. No, no, no. The federal government doesn't have a say in what we do or don't tell you. And it was all just BS. Bonnie, this is nuts. Wow, right? Go eat, Penny. Twitter Schmitter, what a hot mess. It is, right? Sue Toffee says, I have written out your message from God as well. Some days at work, I listen to you to recenter myself when my thoughts about people start to be negative. Penny Pickles is the best name. You're right. We're not going to tell Mr. Whitbroad that, but he doesn't watch the show, so we're totally safe. Wolf says, oh, yeah, that's true. Even retired, you can still be prosecuted. Yeah, for wearing the uniform and doing that. Will they is the question. Madeleine says, I finally got you. It only took 3 Rumble Connects. I missed the kitty fat thing. Oh, honey, I'll show it again for you. The wolf says it makes me feel stabby. Feeling stabby. Also, Racket's whiskey recommendation, Angel's Envy, is spot on. I am not a whiskey person. I have no tolerance for alcohol, like half a glass of wine, and I'm just stupid silly. I was gonna have wine on the Thanksgiving broadcast, just a little bit of wine with cake, and I thought, oh, no doubt if I do it, it'll be the one night I get stupid, and so I didn't do it. Nick Pickles, how much did his parents hate him before he was born? My kids, used to go to the Boys and Girls Club, and the lady that ran it was named Angie Pickles. Um, Bouncing back and forth between here and new to me site called Gilded. It's like Discord, I guess, but without the perverts. I don't know anything about Discord. It's all like pagans and LARP. I don't know what a LARP is either. Um, I guess I shouldn't say that if I don't know what it is. It could be a bad word. I don't know. It's a new bad word on me, though. I've never used it, but I'm aware of Gilded, and I've been tired this week. Just letting a bunch of in my head, and I feel kind of tired all the time, like recovering from years without sleep. Bless your heart. Are you sleeping, Roy Rat? What's up with that? Wolf says, I'm flying right now, Penny. Empty stomach with whiskey. Yeah, I cannot drink on an empty stomach at all. Don has a rule. I mean, it's actually a rule. He's like, we have a rule. You do not drink on an empty stomach. Okay. I never mean to drink on an empty stomach. I don't drink much, like maybe once or twice a year, and then not much. But we'll go somewhere to a restaurant and the service will be really slow. And so I'll order a glass of wine or whatever. Um, and I'll be drinking it, and then the food just doesn't come and doesn't come and doesn't come. So now we have a rule where we wait until the food comes if we're gonna order alcohol. Don doesn't drink at all, so we went out, our oldest son, took us out for Don's birthday, and we went, to some meat place. I don't know what it's called. It's, they carry meat around on these big posts, and they slice it off and put it on your plate. And there's just more meat and then more meat and different kinds of meat. It's the meat place. We went to the meat place, and, um, our daughter-in-law, Jessica, had gotten, Oh, what kind of wine was it? I'd never had it before, and it's a sweet wine. I'm not a big fan of sweet wine. I love red, but it gives me such a headache, I can't drink it. Um, she brought what is it? I can't see it from in here. It's hold on. I can look it up. Oh gosh, I can't see anything. 40 million text messages. What the heck? It's called what is it? It's called a all right, I have to look. Wait. We can bring wine. Moscato. Meat place. I don't know what it's called. It's just the meat place, and you go and they had all this different kinds of meat, and, Miss my wife is the same way, Mrs. Penny Pickle. It's called a steakhouse. No, it's not a steakhouse. Hold on. Donald! Donald! What's the name of that meat place we went to? He's coming in here. It's a steakhouse. You're adorable. Well, diphenhydramine and I guess the other side of very long mission finally accomplished an identity crisis. It's tough to explain. Hang in there, Roy Rat. Yeah, I can't take diphenhydramine. It makes me mean. What's the name of the meat place that Donnie and Jess took us to?
The meat place?
Yeah, where they had the meat on the posts and they slice it off.
Oh, Brunswick, Texas de Brazil.
Texas de Brazil.
Oh, that was delicious.
Oh, yeah, Bonnie got it. It's like a Brazilian meat house. See, it is a meat house, right? It's a meat place.
It's a meat place.
It's the meat. He's like, it's a steakhouse. I'm like, no, it's this different.
No, they cook it all up in the back and they bring you the round spits and they cut off.
It's very caveman-y, but it was fancy. I mean, it was pretty.
It was good.
The food was incredible.
Yeah, we could have pretty much focused on just eating meat.
That's all I think I ate.
Yeah.
I don't think I even went to the salad bar. I just was like, yes, let's eat more meat.
Pretty amazing.
It was really good.
It was a very nice birthday present.
Yeah.
Say.
It wasn't cheap.
No, it was great.
Yes, the Brazilian meat house. That's where we will call it that. Bonnie's got it.
Texas de Brazil.
Texas, the Brazilian meat house. Don't listen to it. It's definitely the Brazilian meat house. Wait, did you really just say 40,000 text messages? I did. It's not really 40,000. It's a lot. It's mostly like stuff. I don't know who these people are that are like after I lost all the weight, now I've gained a bunch of it back, but I'm working on it. I was down to like 145 after COVID, which is way, way too light for me. I look sickly at 145. Even at 5'2", I do not look good at 145. And I kept getting these messages. I don't know who this person was, but they kept sending me messages, and it was like, lose 15 pounds in 10 days. And I'm like, so I'm answering the person back, right? Because I don't realize it's like, I think it's maybe not a person. I don't know how those work. So I'm messaging the person. I'm like, if I lost 15 pounds, I would look emaciated. What would make you think I need to lose 15 pounds? And this person would never answer back. But then I would get another one like from a different number, and they'd be like, lose 20 pounds in 3 weeks. And I'm like, what? How do you know that I even need to lose weight if I lose 20 pounds? And so then I think Don was like, honey, those aren't real people. And I'm like, no, they're here. I was reading. He's like, no, babe, those are just, it's an automated thing, which I didn't know. So I didn't know you could have an automated texting thing. We didn't even have texts when I was a kid. Even when I was an adult, this is relatively new in our lives. Dinosaur ribs. Check out Warhams. It's funny. It's funnier if you know Warhammer. I don't know who that is. You're hilarious. I'm messed up, man. Let me tell you. Roy Rat says, but yeah, bad trigger into a deep. Oh no. Hours of sleep, public embarrassment that goes with all that. Hang in there, Roy Rat. I am praying for you. That's a big old struggle. Yeah, the BS can pile quite high and cause some bad decision making for sure. The wolf is a fatty and proud of it. Feels your arteries clogging. I'm telling you, if I could just get back to keto. I was doing so well on keto, and then I don't. First of all, I blame Nabisco. Seriously, with the double stuffed cookies, you gotta stop. These things are so freaking good. And remember how I thought they didn't taste right? Well, then I quit eating them for a while, and I don't know why I started again. I'm like, "I'm gonna get some dou," and they're good. So maybe it was just a post-COVID cookie mistasting fiasco because they're pretty delicious now. I'm trying not to buy any of the pecan sandies because that's like crack. I can't stop. I love those things. I don't know where I got such a sweet tooth from. I never used to have one. I used to do the keto with no problem. But I mean, how do you get good vanilla creamer with keto? I've tried. I've tried making my own. Because I drink so much tea. I drink cups and cups, and I probably drink 8 cups of tea a day. And there's no, like, what would I put in it that would be as delicious as this? I could drink this right out. I won't. I haven't. I'm telling the truth. I would tell you if I had. I would publicly admit my shame. Um, but no, but it's just even it's so good. I wish we had smell-o-vision. I would put it up there and you could smell it. But this one, the vanilla bean is really good. They just need to but the sugar-free has just as many carbs as the one that isn't sugar-free. How does that work? I do not know. I could use just regular creamer and then I don't know. It wouldn't be as good. It would be as good. Um, Wolf says, "My cat is laying on the table where I eat. This is a problem because she's adorable, 9,000, and I hate making her move, but I'm hungry and require meat. You need to eat supper for sure. It's late, buddy." I've been sober for a couple of weeks now, working with my MH care team, doing good. Good. Been busy clearing and deleting old photos, stuff like that, but it's also tiring. Yeah, it is hard. We've been kind of going through all that old stuff, as we're trying to get the studio done, and I don't know. It makes you realize how old you are, how much life I don't have left. Um, Starting to feel that. Is that weird to start feeling that at 52 already? But I'm like, "Man, I'm on the other side of the hill." I have less time left than I've lived probably. To make you feel better. And the work on my Rumble station. Right, right. You're still doing the Rumble thing. You're gonna get that. I can't look through my pictures. Too many pictures of your dog. I'm so sorry about your dog, Wolf. Oh. Smell-o-vision as an add-on we need an app or something, like, if I could just say it and it would somehow spray out this wonderful vanilla bean smell, and you guys would all then I would be dragging you into my tea addiction. It's seriously a problem. Like, I 1, 2, 3, so 6 water bottles, so that's what, 16.9 ounces, 6 of those a day I probably drink, and it's all tea. I do use the little, liquid Splenda because it doesn't have erythritol in it. I do not like erythritol. Um, I'll use that with, like, a little bit of creamer, and that's good, but it's not as good as regular creamer. Alright, guys, it's midnight. I guess, Bonnie, and it's Bits. What are your thoughts? Do you think, I'm gonna get, hit on YouTube if I leave this video up? Or I don't watch enough YouTube to know. I don't feel like I was super controversial or anything. I didn't say anything hateful. I generally don't, but sometimes I get mad and I'll say something, a little off color. Sometimes, not very often. I just don't want to lose I don't wanna lose my new account that I'm working on building up subscribers on, my new channel. Wolf says, "No need to be sorry. He did what he came to do." Yeah, he did. He changed minds about his breed and raised a pup and 2 cats. The pup he raised acts too much like him sometimes. Oh, it is funny how they kind of imprint and um, will have each other's habits and stuff. I was watching the video, I think from last week, and it's funny. Um, I was just kinda going through the beginning part to make sure the sound was okay. I don't generally watch the whole videos, because I was here. Um, but I noticed I lean over at one point, and you can see Steve's head just hanging out of the basket over there. He's back. "Steve, you doing, buddy?" He's over here playing with his little pink boa. He's got a pink boa he's pulling all the feathers out of. "Kill it, Steve." He's convinced it's a bird. Bonnie has no idea. She's still thinking about the Brazilian meat house. It's so good. They had all kinds of meat. They had, like, filet, they had, some kind of pork that was just it was so, so good. There was one that was my favorite. I can't remember what it was called. I had to keep asking what it was called. Of course, I'd had some wine by then. I think I probably had 2 glasses of wine there, so I didn't drive home. You go against the accepted narrative, so maybe take it down. Yeah, I hate that. Steve, come here. Come here, bud. Come here. You don't have it. Come here. You can't actually eat the feathers, bud. Come here. Come here. Come see everybody. Come on. What the heck? Why would you just run? Come here. Come here. Steven. Steve Martin. Come here. Oh, he's just like that, isn't he? You know, you want him to come over and he won't do it. Come here. Normally he's climbing my chair. Hey, Rotten. Isn't it funny how they want to be seduced all the time? Like you have to lure them over even though they know. Tea time tomorrow. I'll have to look. I plan those out a couple weeks ahead, so I'll have to look and see what tomorrow's going to be on. None of this, of course, because this isn't what tea time's about. Yeah, I'll have to get my binder out. I'm not sure. Come here, bud. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you say hi? What? You still got feathers in your mouth, man. Were you killing that bird? Huh? Was it the circle of life over there on your cat scratcher? Yeah. Oh, shit, you good kitty. He's not good. He's rotten. Steve Martin. I named my cat Marvin because he was starving Marvin when I met him. It stuck. His name is actually Stephen Navin R. Johnson Martin. He's named for the character in The Jerk. Aren't you? Yeah, we were gonna, if you've seen that movie, what he calls his dog, that's what we were gonna name him. But then we're like, well, we can't call him S-Head all the time because that doesn't seem right. Does it, Steve? Not bad. Get out, you're awesome. Yeah, we've got go on now. We've got Steve Martin, we've got the little black cat, who is Sophia Loren. We have and then we have Abby, middle name the Tabby. The doctor's always like, oh, she's a Tabby, and I'm like, no, that's her name, Abby the Tabby. You're awesome. Hi, silly boy. Get that bird. He loves those birds. Yep. You named do you hear Don back there? He's practicing. I think he's playing the electric. Oh yeah, definitely playing the electric guitar. Definitely. All right, guys. I'm not sure what tea time's about tomorrow. He is a good kitty. He's rotten, but he's mostly good when he's not terrorizing the girls. I'm not sure what tomorrow is about. Tomorrow's at 9. I'll know by then. But for the COVID-19 Warrior things, this has just been total mess tonight. I'm normally way more organized than this. For these, I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants because the news changes so fast. It didn't used to be like this, but it changes fast now. And so I kind of have a general idea of what I'm going to talk about. And then news starts hitting about 3:00 and I have to start pulling all of that. But with tea time, yeah, tomorrow we're going to do tea time at 9. I moved it. I was doing Mondays at 2. But I felt like I was looking at my stats and it looked like most people were watching Saturday evenings. And I'm like, well, I'll just move it to Saturday evenings. They're watching the replay. So yeah, that's the plan, to do Saturday evenings at 9, because I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed this, maybe not if you're watching from Rumble or from YouTube, but on Rumble, there's just nothing to watch on the weekend. There's nothing, you got Salty on Sunday, but there's nothing really on Saturdays. And so I thought, I'm going to go ahead and try doing a live stream on Saturday night and see how it goes. And it's nice to have the two together. So do one Friday, one Saturday, and then I've got the rest of the week to do other stuff, because a lot of pre-planning goes into both. Morning coffee if I'm up by then. Oh yeah, because your weird work schedule. He's up to something back there. Hey, bud. He's staring down the vacuum cleaner. They're all scared of it. But anyway, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I was going to close with a video, but I can't. I was going to close with music. But because I'm on YouTube, I can't. Actually, I can close YouTube. So I will say goodnight to everybody at YouTube, and then I will play a song for everybody who's watching on Rumble, because I will not get in trouble for copyright issues if I do that. So kisses to everybody on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9:00 for tea time. I'm not sure what the topic will be, something inspirational for sure. And we will see you guys soon. Oh, it's not going to let me do it because I can't see any of my things. Edit. No. You can't shake them. They're still here. No, it won't. It's just making me toggle them all off. All right, then we're done. What a mess. Sorry, guys. I promise it's normally, tomorrow's 9:00. Friday nights are 9:30, so we go on after Salty because I don't want to hurt his viewership, the 30,000 live viewers he's got. I don't want to nip into that and cause him a totally ridiculous comment. But yeah, 9:30 on Friday nights, 9:00 on Saturday nights. And we do have something the weekend of the 18th, 20th, whenever that is. We're trying to figure that out. I'm going to have my grandkids that weekend, so we'll work around it, or they're old enough that maybe they can watch a movie or something. But I will keep you posted on that for sure. So we will talk soon. Love you guys, whole big bunches.